Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
How's it going, everybody? This is Mike Sempervive, a Wrestling Observer Live in the Adam and Mike Big Audio Nightmare, located over at WrestlingObserver.com. We want you to listen to our show, but we thank you very much for checking out Keeping It Strong Style here on the Social Suplex Radio Network.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keeping It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keeping It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out in Barrio the Frost. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with the young boy Josh Smith. On today's show, we're reviewing nights 8 through 10 of the G1 Climax, answering your questions and covering all the latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can support our show by subscribing to the Social Suplex Podcast Network on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the podcasts and columns over at socialsuplex.com. This episode of Keeping It Strong Style is brought to you by Powerslam TV. Powerslam TV is an independent wrestling streaming service with over 5,000 hours of wrestling from companies across the world. Use the promo code SOCIALSUPLEX to get your first month free. Make sure you check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store, ProWrestlingTees.com/SocialSuplex. That's where you can get your official Keeping It Strong Style t-shirt. Young boy, what's going on, man?
Hurt. I'm feeling hurt. I'm feeling hurt because my bracket is busted, my pick'ems were wrong, and my shoulders are feeling busted. I've been in the gym, and I've been working on my Shane McMahon, you know what I'm saying, my shoot-style strikes. Unfortunately, I'm not as good as the best in the world, but I'm getting there. I just need to, get a young boy jersey and wear some Air Force Ones or some Nikes like he does. Jordans.
Every time you walk into a room, here comes the money.
Yeah, I start doing the shuffle and the dance and all that.
Yeah, that should be your alarm when you wake up.
I'm actually gonna start modeling my entire life after like Shane. It's gonna be great. That is gonna be my alarm, and I'm gonna start. I don't know where else to take this bit. I don't watch WWE. I don't know enough about Shane McMahon.
Then you have to get into a feud with Kevin Owens.
Are they in a feud?
Yes.
Oh, God. Why?
Because it's 2017 all over again. But we're not here to talk about up north. We're here to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling.
The Far East.
Talk about the Grade 1 Climax.
I don't know why we're talking about this. I heard that they got the best wrestling product out there. I don't know. That's what Seth's Twitter said, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because Seth always tells the truth.
But, yeah, man, this G1, like, I have a different feeling now than I had the last few weeks. The last few weeks I was like, oh, my God, this is incredible. This is so great. And then now I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Gato, where are you taking us?
Yeah.
Did you ever hear that that Dave Chappelle bit where he's talking about, like, there's a difference between, like, when you're ready to go to the ghetto, so you kind of prepare your mind, and then versus being taken there.
Yeah.
And you're, like that, I feel like I'm getting taken there. Like, I wasn't ready for this. Like,
I wasn't ready.
Yeah. I'm looking out the window, and I see gun store, liquor store, gun store, liquor store. I'm like, where are you taking me? Mox win, Okada win, Mox win, Okada win. What are you doing, Gato? I have no clue what's happening, bro.
Dude,
I did not. Actually, the crazy thing is, like, I'm like in third place for the bracket contest.
Yeah, and that's not really saying much because, I mean, a lot of people's brackets are just red all over them.
That's saying a lot because I'm the underdog story in this contest. Like, that Neo Geo will be mine.
And we're actually tied, sir. So
we're tied?
Yes.
Oh, God. Well, the last time we were in a contest together and we were tied, I pulled away at the end, if you know what I'm saying. Shout out to Ricky and Clive. But yeah, man, I'm ready to review these. Like, the matches have been fantastic, but
some of them have been, some have not.
That's true.
This is definitely, I would say, probably some of the weaker nights compared to the last 2 weeks.
That's probably true, but like, I'm cramming them in such short succession that I'm hardly noticing that. Like, I'm just like, let's get through them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but I've enjoyed everything so far.
So let's start off with Night 8. We had Juice Robinson defeating Toru Yano at 4 minutes and 35 seconds.
I liked this. I mean, but I like Toru Yano, so I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, short little 4-minute match. You know, Yano doing the normal Yano stuff, pulling the turnbuckle pads off. You know,
this was important though because Juice had so much trouble with Toru Yano last year, especially. That's the real reason why this man got rid of his braids. Everyone's like, why'd you get rid of your braids, Juice? And he's like, I'm killing off CJ Parker. Nah, it was in preparation for his match with Toru Yano because he knew that he could have got taped up to the freaking ropes again. Anything could have happened. He could have got counted out, but nah, he came with a game plan. He cut his hair, and he had no problem with Toru Yano. He got that geek out of here. 4 minutes.
Yeah, blocked a low blow, left hand of God, Pulp Friction. 1, 2, 3. Juice picks up 2 points. He outsmarts Yano. Went 2.5 stars on this thing.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah. This wasn't like the funniest match in the world. I did like that little story element though, with the fact that Juice overcame him so easily. Basically,
I did pop for when the referee found the extra roll of tape in Yano's tights.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny. But besides that, yeah, it was just your typical kind of Yano match we're getting this year.
I mean, it's one of those things, like we talk about, you know, Yano can beat anybody. We've seen that in this tournament, and it's like one of those things where it's like until your guy that you like gets past him, you're sitting there on the edge of your seat being like, please, God, please let's get through this. And then he got through it, and now we don't have to worry anymore. So Juice advances, 2 more points, and we move on.
Yeah, we have Taichi defeating Hiroki Goto at 12 minutes and 25 seconds. And, you know, gentlemen's 3 here. Thought it was a fine match. We had a lot of the Taichi shenanigans in this match. This was one of those situations where I felt like the shenanigans really didn't add to the match. It kind of weighed it down.
I agree.
You know, you started off from the very get. You know, Taichi rips off Carl Frederick's LA Dojo shirt to mock Goto with it, which then Goto rushes down to the ring. They start brawling, and just from there, it was just shenanigans after shenanigans. You know,
shenanigans for shenanigans' sake.
Yeah, using, you know, Miho Abe as a shield. You know, just all the typical Taichi gimmicks, and then of course towards the end, it kind of picked up a little bit towards the end. You know, with Taichi using, you know, the Kawada kicks and Goto kind of firing up, hitting the reverse GTR, but then Taichi ended up countering the proper GTR, shoves the ref into Goto, hits backdrop driver, ref is still down, Taichi grabs the mic, and Goto counters, hits him with a headbutt. He follows with a kick, GTR's counter, Taichi grabs the ref again, hits a low blow, Gato clutch, 1, 2, 3, Taichi gets the win.
Man, what a rundown. What an astute rundown, Jeremy. My God. But yeah, I mean, this was fine. I guess my big question coming out of this is like, what's going on with Goto? Because, you know, he got the big win over Jay White night 1, and since then he's the only other guy he's beaten is like, what, Yano?
Yeah.
So he's sitting at 4 points. And then
I think it's one of those situations, I think we talked about either last week or the week before, where he was literally training just to beat Jay White. That's all he cared about was beating Jay White.
So he's a front runner.
Yeah.
He blew his wad and he can't go no more. Like, that's crazy. And then, you got Taichi, who is, I guess that puts him at 4 points now in the tournament as well. I guess that makes sense, like some parity booking. I'm just kind of surprised, like they made this big deal about Goto's new physique and everything like that. I kind of thought he would beat. I didn't think he beat everybody, but I kind of thought he beat Taichi.
Right. I thought he would have a little bit more momentum, pick up a few wins. Like he went off on an excursion, so to speak, training with Shibata and Carl Fredericks and all those guys, and supposed to be he's in better shape. Like they had the video they put on New Japan World of him at the LA dojo.
The thing with the Taichi matches is like the endings of them are usually the action leading up to the endings is great, but then there's shenanigans or whatever, and then it kind of falls out from there, and then the beginnings are just whatever. But I mean, I guess I can't complain too much. It's a lot better than what we've gotten from him in the past, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I just with both these guys, they've wrestled before, and did they have good matches or not really? Isn't it one of those situations where I always think they're gonna have good matches and then they don't?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. It's fine.
So moving on, we have the Deaf Rider Jon Moxley defeating Shingo 14 minutes and 45 seconds. The Deaf Rider, he's tapped out Shingo with the Texas Cloverleaf here. Worked over Shingo's knee and leg for majority of the match.
I do want to say I thought that it was a couple things. One, I was sitting here with a good friend of the show, Zach Porter. Shout out to Zach. And I was telling him about why it kind of frustrates me that so many wrestlers can't put on the Texas Cloverleaf right. I'm like, I just don't get why. Like, what's so hard about hooking underneath the boot when you're like cinching it in? Like, are you guys pro wrestlers or not? Like, this is not that hard. And then he was like, he'd already been spoiled on this, and he was like, well, there's a match where that's going to come into play. So shout out to Jon Moxley for, doing a proper Texas Cloverleaf. But the other thing with this match, I really want to commend them for their layout, because there was a lot of callbacks to the feud and the match from the Best Super Juniors between Kanemaru and Shingo, where Shingo came in with an injured knee. Mm-hmm. And that was very evident because Jon Moxley even did very specific spots, namely the one where he did the what do you call that, where you raise the guy up on their knee, like a knee lift?
Yeah, the knee lift onto the railing,
or a knee drop. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, he dropped him onto the table.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is the same thing that Kanemaru had done when Kanemaru had almost upset Shingo during the Best Super Juniors just, a month or two ago?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought that was interesting. All around, this was a pretty good match, though. But, Moxley fucked up Shingo like he's fucking up everybody.
Yeah, he did have a little bit more psychology in this match, focusing on the leg, several attacks to the leg. Even one point, he Pillmanizes Shingo's knee.
Hey, how about that? You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
How is Red Shoes not on the take? We're going to talk about the next match. Okay, we'll talk about it, but in the Jay White Jeff Cobb match, which followed this, Red Shoes refused to do a count out because of interference that had been on the outside, and he's been refusing to count. But then, when Jon Moxley decides to do to Pillmanize somebody on the outside, Red Shoes is all okay with it all day. That man's on the take. That man is on the take. I'm telling you.
Well, Moxley's a part of the family now, so I guess he's looking out.
Which family?
The Umino family.
The Umino clan?
But yeah, dude, when that happened, I've become conditioned to kind of, realize, all right, the referees are going to let a lot of things fly in big main events and title matches in the tournaments. But there's got to be, some consistency in what these guys are doing, especially with Red Shoes. One match, he's, Pillmanizes his leg. Sure, starts a count out.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Next match, refuses a count out. That
doesn't make sense.
I would be fine if the following match he did the same thing and started the count. But, what's going on here?
I think my thing with it, I would prefer for it to be this way. If guys are going to do illegal things on the outside, and New Japan is going to have the rule where they kind of give him a little leeway, then don't let it be so blatant that, you know what I'm saying? Like, let it be something where, like, they do an attack and then they move on. But, like, when this guy's, like, beating him on the ground with a freaking chair and Pillmanizing his leg, like, that's crossing that's like some Attitude Era crap. It's like, I mean, the referee's literally watching him. Like, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't like in this match. But besides that, I thought the action was great. A lot of great counters.
I thought they did a good job doing a lot of, on the commentary, referring to and alluding to the past that Jon Moxley and Shingo have with one another.
Yeah, and Dragon Gate USA.
Yep. And, you know, that's something that New Japan that they do pretty often is when guys have history, they will acknowledge it. They will allow it to even be played up in the promos and in the stories, which is nice. And so I thought that was a good, nice little wrinkle. I thought Shingo was got maybe like more offense and near falls on Jon Moxley than almost anybody else in the tournament. I felt like Moxley gave more to Shingo than he did to Ishii or to obviously Jeff Cobb or Taichi up to this point. This was, in my opinion, to a certain degree, maybe his quote-unquote toughest test, because this was a much more parity-based match than the Ishii match was.
You really think that Ishii match was that?
Ishii got like 20% of the offense. I think people need to rewatch that match because I'm sitting here watching Ishii just get fucked up, and it's like, what? Why? Why?
Oh man, but yeah, once again, I think this was a great match here. Moxley busting out those Regal knee tremblers, loving that.
He hit him with a lot of knees. And actually, the knees looked really good in this match. I don't always love when he does the Regal knee, but he's slowly but surely, I think he's improving it. It's starting to look better than
he's hitting them dudes a real clean foot now, and hits the knee trembler, locks on that Texas cloverleaf, and Shingo is forced to tap out.
Were you surprised that they had Shingo tap out in this tournament?
I was surprised. I mean, Shingo's a guy, they've done a great job of pushing him and protecting him in his junior run, but, now he's here in the heavyweights. They told a great story of Mox attacking the knee throughout the whole match, and, they got the rocket strapped to Mox's back right now, and they're showing a new wrinkle here with the Texas Cloverleaf submission, showing you another way that Mox could get a win, and...
Yeah, I'm not going to bury it too much or anything like that because, as we know, guys tap out in New Japan and it's not seen the way it is, like, say, in WWE or most Western promotions where it's like this guy is buried.
Right.
But at the same time, you got to figure that many times the guys that they're trying to protect, they don't have them tap out. So it is kind of, even though it's not a burial, it's still a big deal to see a guy get submitted. Last year, I remember Ishii submitted to Zack Sabre. I was very surprised by that for different reasons, but this was the most surprising submission to me of the tournament so far. I wasn't surprised he beat Shingo because I kind of anticipated that. I just was surprised to see him beat him with that specific submission. Yeah.
Another thing, too, it's still a junior versus a heavyweight, so you would think in New Japan mindset, a heavyweight can submit a junior without there being any issue whatsoever. Even if that junior is Shingo.
But as this tournament's going on, I'm starting to feel like Shingo's just not a junior. Like the more it goes on and on, I'm just like, he's not a junior. And in fact, Jon Moxley even said it like in his post match. He's like, dude, that guy's like 230. He's not a junior. So like I get what you're saying, but like the more I'm watching Shingo, I'm just feeling like I don't think he really is a junior at all. Like it's fine, whatever. But like, he's big, bro. He's bruising people. But I really enjoyed this match. I would have probably gone about the same, about 4 stars. And Death Rider moves on, 8 points.
Yeah,
4 nights.
So next up, we move on to Switchblade Jay White defeating Jeff Cobb 15 minutes and 20 seconds via pin. I thought this was a fine match. I went 3.5 on it. Thought it was pretty good.
What did Dave Meltzer give this match?
I believe he gave it 1.75.
How? How, Sway? How is that possible? This match was good, man. I wasn't in love with it, but there was a lot of the funny thing is to hear I listened to Observer today, and to hear like Dave talk about the match. At first, he's praising everything that Jay White did, and he's praising all the cool moves that Jeff Cobb did, and it almost sounds like he's going to give it a good rating. And then he starts talking about how, like, I don't know, it just didn't connect for me. 1.75. I'm like, what? But you know,
I think the problem with this night in general, and then leading into this match, there was a lot of shenanigans this night. You have the stuff with Toriano, you had the stuff with Taichi. And then by you get to this match...
No, you had the stuff with Moxley, too.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't ref bumps, but there was definitely, like, the brawling, the outside stuff, you know, the Pillmanization. Like, don't get twisted. There was just as much, like, fuck shit with Jon Moxley's match as the rest of them.
And then you get to this match, and it's like, damn, more shenanigans.
That, and also, I feel like, top to bottom, from in-ring action, from a story standpoint, okay, it was a little bit slower than the other matches, but it was actually a good story.
Yeah, I enjoyed the story of this match with White working over the neck of Cobb.
There's also the added factor that, okay, on the one hand, you have to figure Jay's probably has to win. Like, it's a do or die situation, and because they put him up against Jeff Cobb, it pretty much does kill that illusion that he's going to lose. That would be a huge upset. So it's like, okay, so you already kind of know that Jay's got to win, so he's going to win. He's not going to lose. Otherwise, he's out of the tournament.
Right.
So there's that standpoint. And then there's the other fact where it's like you said, there's all the shenanigans. But not only that, but people are still got their guards up about, like, Jay last year. And so even just a smidge of some of the stuff he did last year, people are like, whoa, buddy, like,
yeah, here we go again.
Here we go again.
Oh, shit, here we go again.
And you know what? Like, I'm not going to lie. I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, fuck, here we go again. So I said the same thing, too, but that wasn't enough for me to go, like, under 2 stars for the match. Like,
no.
that's insane.
Yeah.
But I get why someone might not like it, because I understand that stuff. And you know what? The truth of the matter is, Jay did have to cheat to beat Jeff Cobb. He did have to utilize Gato and utilize the nut shots and utilize all the smoke and mirrors so that he could beat this guy. Mm-hmm. Because just his counter wrestling alone is not getting the job done, clearly. And that's the story they're telling with Jay White, which is interesting.
There was one spot I thought was very creative, I've never really seen before, was when I think it was Cobb was going to, like, kip up. But Jay, like, grabbed his hair before he could cape up and pulled him back down. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but that does sound cool. Like, there's so much wrestling. Like, I wish I could remember everything I liked from each match. Like, I need to start taking notes because, like, we are watching so much wrestling. I'm like, oh. But no, yeah, you're absolutely right. They did do cool stuff in this match. But Jay White picks up the win, 15 minutes, 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's that Blade Runner. We had a question from Reddit user Life is a Dragon. It says, why does Jeff Cobb suck in the G1? After that undercard tag in Dallas with the pull-apart brawl against Ishii, Cobb G1 hype was at an all-time high. What happened? Is his gimmick too generic? Is his moveset just not conducive to working as an underdog? Does he need to improve his cardio? Is it all ROH's fault for being an awful promotion that brings the worst out of all his talents?
The funny thing is, I don't agree with you, Life is a Dragon. I don't think Jeff Cobb sucks in the G1. But the funny thing is, I agree with almost every point he brought up. Like, I think he brings up fantastic points. I just don't think that Jeff Cobb sucks. I will say I don't think he's having a stellar tournament. He's not, like, killing it, but he's a utility guy. He's fulfilling his role.
He's a good little hand.
He's a good little hand, yeah. But, like, I know we always do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. Like, you compare Jeff Cobb's first G1 to Michael Elgin's G1, and it's night and day. Elgin, like, when he came in for that first G1, it was like a revelation. It was like, this guy was supposed to be here all along. It didn't end up working that way for him the rest of his career, but his first G1, he, like, freaking lit the world on fire. Jeff Cobb's not doing that.
Yeah, people are probably asking, why are you making that comparison? But I think it's pretty clear that Michael...
Singlets, big guys, they're both Gaijins, powerhouses.
I think it's pretty clear that Cobb pretty much took Elgin's spot this year.
Yeah, he did.
Like if Elgin was still on the roster, like, I don't think Cobb would have been in.
And I think they're similar archetypes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the same way how, like, if I were to compare, like, Ricochet to like Will Ospreay,
Right.
I'm gonna compare Jeff Cobb to like Elgin.
Right, and Elgin, he's a super worker, man. That guy is so great.
Who, Elgin?
Yeah.
You miss him?
I mean,
I kind of miss him.
yeah. He's a great wrestler, and
he's great.
He's better than Cobb, and I love Cobb, but he's just not on Elgin's level.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know what it is that's not connecting. I think we met last week. We talked about him, not being quite as aggressive as he probably should be with a guy that size and that powerful.
I mean, I agree with most things you said. Is his gimmick too generic? I would say I don't think that the gimmick's generic. I just think that there needs to be a different side to him other than just like laid back Hawaiian
chill bro,
bro, smiley guy. His moveset not being conducive to working as an underdog. I've never thought about that, but you know what? A lot of the stuff he does is power based moves. He might be better like suited as a heel if you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's hard to say too because everything he does gets pops.
Right. Well, maybe it's just the way he's being booked too. Like maybe like with his moveset, he needs to be booked stronger.
Well, he's saying, yeah, he probably needs to be booked stronger because, like he said, it's not conducive to working as an underdog. I mean, if this guy's like getting beat up and then he does like a standing moonsault, like how is that getting sympathy off of him? You know what I'm saying? Like that's
I don't really think it's ROH's fault too much because besides the Matt Taven match, Cobb's ROH one has been great.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Everything that he did in ROH, every big match he's had has been some of the best work that he's done. He's been fantastic there. He did say, does he need to improve his cardio? I don't know about that, but he has been wrestling a slower pace in almost all his matches compared to the other guys in the G1, I would say. And that is something to kind of take note of. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and body shame Jeff Cobb, but do you think Jeff Cobb could maybe get into better shape and that might help him in his career? Possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
His maybe he does need like better cardio. I don't know. I don't think he sucks, but I do think that he has this huge opportunity in front of him, and I don't think he's capitalizing on it personally.
Yeah.
The only thing that is good, I hear New Japan is super high on him. So if they're happy, then that's great, But
yeah, and I just don't know if it's one of those things too. Like, if it's like, I think it's kind of a 50-50 blame here. Like, I think part of it might be on him, and also part of it on New Japan, just the way that he's slotted right now, where he's booked, who he's going against.
He hasn't had any main events yet.
Yeah, how the matches are laid out. He's always stuck in kind of like either the opening match. Well, here he was in the semi-main, but normally his matches are earlier on the card as far as the G1 matches. So yeah, I don't know.
To me, I think Jeff Cobb is a guy who does a lot of really great moves, is super impressive and athletic and cool, but I don't usually get a feel that he is laying out a great story or like understanding where he is in the structure of the match, honestly. And I mean, I don't know. That sounds kind of, what do I know? I'm not a wrestler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so maybe I'm just being stupid, but there are other guys who seem to be able to feel the moment a little bit better and know how to kind of command the audience and tell the story. Whereas to me, Jeff Cobb's like, I don't want to say a video game wrestler, but kind of like he's a guy who's out there who's doing a bunch of stuff, but like stringing it together at the wrong times maybe.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So thanks for the question, Life is a Dragon. So now we're going to move on to the main event of Night 8. We had Tetsuya Naito defeating Tomohiro Ishii at 18 minutes and 55 seconds.
I really, really, really enjoyed this match.
I love this match. This was a banger. These guys, Naito and Ishii, always have great matches together, and they did a great job here with all the action and the violence throughout this match, and just being so familiar with each other, some of the counters and stuff they were doing.
Here's the thing, though. Who has matches? Who doesn't have great matches with Ishii is the thing. You're like,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, we could say this about anybody. Like, it's kind of funny. Like, you always kind of, not you, but like I always kind of forget. I always like this guy and Ishii always have great matches together, and then I have to stop myself and be like, oh yeah, that's everybody. That's literally the whole roster.
Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right. Like, this match was incredible, man. Like you said, they always have fantastic matches together.
Yeah, I mean, once again, there's just so many spots to even go over here, but there's just so many great, lariats and strikes and, headbutts from Ishii.
They got a lot of time. 18 minutes, 55 seconds. They went out there and they had a barn burner.
Yeah.
And they worked really fast.
Yeah, it was fast-paced, hard-hitting. Just these guys just kind of going balls to the wall.
Definitely match of the night.
Yeah, these guys are not afraid to kind of take some head bumps. Naito kind of drilled Ishii with that Gloria at one point in the match.
Oh, yeah, because that was a high-angled Gloria. And he came down on his shoulders and neck. That was crazy.
And, Naito hitting poison ranas on Ishii. And, Ishii, no-selling and just popping up and killing him with lariats. And, these guys just going out here just doing crazy stuff, man.
Yep, really, really, really good match. Ultimately, Naito wins it. 18 minutes, 55 seconds with Destino. And, at this point, this was, his first win of the tournament?
Naito's?
Or second?
I think it's his second win.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the second win. So, yeah, that brought him up to 4 points.
4 points, okay. So that pretty much kept him in the running at that point.
Yeah.
So, interesting. So, Naito at 4 points. Yeah.
So, any other thoughts on that matchup?
No, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was the match of the night. I think it's among the better, best matches of the tournament so far.
Definitely. I went 4.5 on this. I definitely have it in my top 10 matches of the tournament thus far.
Yeah.
So it's an excellent main event. Great way to close out a card that was kind of filled with a lot of gimmickry and cheating and shenanigans. It was great to have a nice, solid, strong style main event there.
Yeah, people were down on this night. I thought everything was pretty good, honestly. I don't know. I think those Toriano matches are so short that you just kind of move on, and then everything else was solid. I mean, it wasn't like the highest of heights, but this is not a show I would bury or anything.
Right. I think the issue is just coming off of last week, the Cork and Hall shows. All three of them were so good. The crowd was so hot. And then, coming off of that to this show, it was a little bit of a step down. Obviously not horrible, but it definitely was not on the level of those Corkin shows.
Yeah.
So moving on, we have Night 9, which opened up with Kota Ibushi defeating Lance Archer at 11 minutes and 45 seconds via pin. And I freaking love this match.
Bro, I freaking love this match. I'm getting into this weird phase, right, where there are these shorter matches like this that maybe don't fit your criteria that historically people would deem as being this is a match of the year contender or this isn't sort of thing. But some of these more quote-unquote epic matches that are happening in this tournament that people are falling in love with, I'm enjoying them, I'm liking them, but I'm not finding myself throughout the match holy crap the whole time. And then there's matches like Archer and Ibushi, and there's a few others that have been like this too, where I'm just on the edge of my seat holy crap. And at 11 minutes, 45 seconds, this blew me away.
Yeah, this was such a fast pace. You had Archer being the big monster heel, Ibushi, being that underdog babyface, still recovering from the ankle injury, and these guys just worked so well together, had a great match. This man, Lance Archer, just continues to improve, just busting out different moves out of his moveset that we don't really see. That springboard,
that cannonball.
Yeah, that springboard, cannonball thing into the ring.
It's awesome.
Was cool. Black hole slam. This guy just
sidewalk slam, freaking giant choke slam. He's getting guys up, bro,
super high.
There was a time where Sho and Kane used to throw guys up like that, and then they just don't anymore. And
at first when you said Sho, I was like,
yeah, Big Show.
Yeah.
And it's been or 911 used to put guys up like that.
Yeah.
There's very few guys in history that have done choke slams like to that level. And Archer's choke slamming the crap out of people. And Ibushi was awesome. I just never thought that I would think of Ibushi and Archer as being some sort of really good matchup or something I'd be excited for. But man, they killed it. They really killed it.
Yeah, and Archer with his own counter of the Kamigoye with his big knee strike.
Bro, he got
murdered Ibushi with that huge knee.
Bro, he murked him. Like, it freaking, like, I don't know how that wasn't real, because he literally hit him with, like, the tip of his knee. Like, that was Ben Askren and Jorge Masvidal level. Like, he killed him, dude.
Yeah, he drilled him, dude. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, is that it?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
Another great spot was when Archer was going for the derailer, and Ibushi countered by just jumping up and doing double knees as Archer was coming down. That was dope. There's so many great spots in this.
And then all the Bombayes.
Oh yeah. And at the end, or he hits them with the Kamigoye, but Archer kind of like gets up and it's like laughing and won't go down, and Ibushi has this look on his face like
that's never happened before either.
Yeah, Ibushi's just looking like WTF, like
yeah, what
do I need to do? And it's bam, drills him with another Kamigoye, and Archer was finally down 1, 2, 3. Ibushi,
that was some Dragon Ball Z crap right there. That was incredible.
Yeah, dude, I love this, man. 4 stars.
I'm a little higher than that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to quantify this stuff, but, like, I'm at least 4.25 on it. Like, I almost feel like I could go a little higher. Like, this is, like, one of the best sub 12-minute matches I can think of. Like, it was really, really, really great. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was a great match. And, like, if you haven't watched that match, I don't know what you're doing. You need to watch that match. Like, Lance Archer is having, like, unmissable matches in this tournament. Who would have thought at the beginning of this tournament that Lance Archer would be one of the guys having, like, can't miss matches?
What kind of sentence was that? Lance Archer is having unmissable matches.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a Keepin It Strong Style first. Like, holy crap.
And we did have a question from Reddit user That Was 5 Stars. He says, can you think of a time where the first G1 match to go on turns out to be the match of the night? I loved Archer Ibushi so much that I was slightly disappointed with the rest of the night's matches.
No, I can't think of one because, honestly, I don't have a good recollection of match placement, specifically when it comes to G1. I mean, like that, yeah, I couldn't do that to me. I'm sure there has been, though. Well, not sure, but I if I were to bet money on it, I'd bet that at some point, yeah, it's probably happened.
Yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head right now. So we can go back and look, but
like I have trouble just remembering what nights the matches we're watching right now even happened on, much less the order of that night. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why it's hard for me. Like I have no clue.
Yeah, I'm sure with in 29 G1s there has to be some night that's happened.
Yeah.
So next we move on to Will Ospreay defeating Bad Luck Fale at 9 minutes and 15 seconds via disqualification.
I was right.
You're right, Ospreay. Ospreay won here.
Yeah, so this was not Ospreay's best match.
This man, Bad Luck Fale, comes out here and ruins the streak. This man, Will Ospreay, has had like 16 4-star and above matches. Singles matches. And Fale ruined the streak. Like, from his match with Fale in the New Japan Cup, after that match, up to this Fale match. So Fale is the bookend between this, like, great streak of matches. You know, we talk about the Jay White match, the Jeff Cobb match at MSG, all those Best of Super Junior matches, all the matches he's been having here in the G1 Climax.
Robbie Eagles.
The Robbie Eagles match from
which I think
Southern
people
Showdown.
Have already forgotten about, which is crazy.
And then Fale's like, nah, we gotta cool this off. You need to chill.
Well, that's what he's here for.
Hold these 2 stars.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for what it was fine. The funny thing is, you're sitting here burying my dog Fale, but my man was working super hard out there.
Bro, that man was drenched. That man was dripping, bro.
Bro, I can't remember a time ever in my life where I've seen a wrestler sweat that hard it was literally like that Key and Peele gif where the guy's sweating and it's just like literally like pouring off his head. Like
it's probably even more like Mark Henry.
Bro, it was insane. So hats off to Fale for trying. Close but no cigar. But he tried, bro. He really tried. And they tried everything. They brought, Master Heater out there. They brought, the Crown Jewel out there. They brought a kendo stick. All the shenanigans, ref bumps, all sorts of crap. But it just, they couldn't make up for the fact that, Will Ospreay can't carry Fale to a 4-star match. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, then, towards the end, the ref was down. Owens comes in and attacks Ospreay, hits him with the kendo shot, and hits him with the package pile driver. When that happened, I was like, oh, that's it. Fale's, going to pin him off of that.
Yeah.
But then, the ref still wasn't up, and Red Shoes comes down. We get the old 1, 2, and the double finger salute to Fale, and Red Shoes throws the match out and disqualifies Fale.
Do you love that Red Shoes does stuff like that? Or do you think, it's kind of that referee shouldn't be, trying to, be over like that? You know what I mean?
I don't know. With Reg, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that all the refs do, and, he's a senior official, and he is kind of like a character, so to speak. So I'm fine with him doing it.
I don't know. I'm torn because there's this part of me where it's I know the fan base really likes him and all that stuff, and it is a funny moment, so I think it's funny. But then there's this other part of me, the purist of me, that's Earl Hebner wouldn't do this.
Well, maybe.
Or whatever, but I don't know. But it's fine. But after this was over, I was I was just relieved that Will Ospreay won because I predicted him last week, so I just wanted to be right more so than anything else. But I was watching this with Zach, and Zach seemed kind of pissed, and I was like, well, bro, I'll say this: it could have been way worse. It could have been way worse.
It could have been.
So this was fine.
Yeah.
For what it was. They tried.
Yeah. 2 stars. Yes. What it is. That Vince McMahon. It is what it is.
When did Vince say that?
On the Q2 conference calls.
Oh.
When they asked him about the why is the revenue down or whatever, he just said, it is what it is. The same thing for Fale matches. It is what it is. So moving on, we had the King of Darkness, Evil, defeating Zack Sabre Jr. at 16 minutes and 10 seconds via pinfall.
I really liked this match, and I'm so surprised that I really liked this match.
Yeah, you're not really big on Evil.
I'm not really big on Evil, but more so, I don't like the pairing of Evil and Zack Sabre. I remember being so excited for their feud because of how they played it up earlier in the year with, Evil being unable to beat Zack in all those tag matches. And then they finally had their singles match. When was it? At New Japan Cup for the first time?
Was it New Japan Cup? Wasn't it?
They wrestled at New Japan Cup for sure. New Beginning?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I think the first match was at New Beginning, and then they wrestled another time at New Japan Cup, and both times Zack beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were supposed to wrestle the year prior, but Jericho had interfered and broke up the match, and it went to a to a no decision. So these guys have quite a bit of history with one another, and each time I just was not impressed with any of those matches. For whatever reason, I really liked this match. I thought Evil and Zack Sabre went out there and had a great match.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. Their matches, like you said in the past, were not that great, and you would think their styles, with submission wrestling and then kind of the bruiser brawler, that their past matches would be kind of a little bit better. But I thought they had a pretty good match here, and Evil kind of getting the big win here, defeating Sabre, and Sabre dropping, this is his 4th loss now. He's out. Yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. is mathematically eliminated.
That is so crazy to me. This is what I'm talking about when I'm saying I don't understand the booking. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not angry. I don't have a dog in this race. It's just that you look at historical references, and I mean, this is what I think this is Zach's 3rd G1, but he's been booked so strong in the previous G1s and so strong just throughout the year. He usually is. To see him not only he could still end up with a good amount of points by the end of this and kind of quote unquote redeem himself.
Right, he can still end 5-4
and have 10 points.
Yeah,
but the record books are going to show that this man got eliminated after 5 nights.
And, and part of me too was like, I'm wondering if this was somehow like maybe a shot at Ring of Honor in a way. Like, Ring of Honor didn't put the belt on Jeff Cobb because they want to protect their champion. But you have the Rev Pro champion here eating pinfalls left and right.
I didn't even think about that. I don't know.
Like, that's probably like too like conspiracy theory, but I thought about that.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. So like, Ring of Honor didn't want to put their champion. They didn't want to put the title on Jeff Cobb because they didn't want their champion eating pinfalls.
Right.
But the Rev Pro champion's here, and he literally is already out of the tournament.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, the thing is like, Zach is so established over there and so dominant, that he's going to be fine. So it's not a big deal. But now you've probably been paying more attention to this because I've been able to catch up to this tournament by the skin of my teeth. Have you seen any of these like post-match like conferences or these tantrums that I keep hearing about that he's throwing?
Yeah, he's like pulling like it's like what year was it? Like 02 Christian, like just these crazy like crying tantrums after the match, pulling the guardrails, throwing chairs.
Like he's Jericho.
Yeah.
Like 96, 97 Jericho.
Yeah, and talking about what's the dude, Boris Johnson, I believe, like the Prime Minister guy, and
yeah,
he's talking about he can't concentrate on the G1 because of the horrible politics that are happening in his country.
What, like Brexit and stuff like that?
Yeah,
I guess?
so.
Huh, interesting. I gotta wonder what this is leading to for Zach because it feels like there is a purpose behind it.
Yeah, he did say that he plans on now ruining everybody's G1. Like, his G1's already ruined.
So he's a spoiler.
Yeah, he wants to ruin everybody else's G1.
Man, who would have thought Zack Sabre Jr. is the spoiler in this tournament? That's so crazy sounding, but okay. Yeah, that's one of the things that makes this tournament so unpredictable. The thing is like, in order for some guys to be dominant, which we're going to talk about a couple of them right now, or very shortly, that means less points for guys who can't be as dominant in order for the math to work out. And Zach's the the lamb that they're gonna slaughter here, and yeah, he's out. It's crazy.
And I'm sure like he's gonna be a spoiler. He's gonna get his heat back. You got Royal Quest coming up. He's probably going to defend the Rev Pro title against one of the people that's defeated him, have a big match there and a big win.
He's going to lose it is what's going to happen. This man's on a losing streak.
So we'll see what happens with Zach, the remaining of the tournament. Next, we had the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, defeating Sonata at 18 minutes and 10 seconds via pin.
Dude.
And this might be an unpopular opinion.
Too long. Too slow. I didn't like this match.
Same here, dude. Like, this was...
And I was anticipating really liking it.
Same here. You got Tanahashi. You got Sonata.
Handsome battle.
Both guys have had decent tournaments thus far. And just came out here and they had a match.
Bro, like, I thought that the commentary team did a great job explaining their histories with their masters, with, like, Muto and Fujinami and the history there and like the significance and all that. And they came out here and they had a match, but it was a really slow match.
It was so slow.
It was really slow.
I was just sitting there like,
it was really slow.
Like, is this really happening right now?
Yeah, it was slow, and I don't really have a lot to say about it. I genuinely did not enjoy this match. Like, and I watched it like I watched it twice, and I never got into it. You know what it reminded me of? Last year there was a match that you really liked. I think it was Hangman Page and Jay White. Mm-hmm. And I watched it, and I was like, that match sucked. And you were like, watch it again. And I watched it again. And I was like, that match still sucked. And this was like that for me this year. Like, I just couldn't get into this.
Yeah, I have this like at 3.25. That's a very generous 3.25.
Bro, I'm at 3 stars, but here's the thing. I said this last week. An 18-minute 3-star match is a lot.
It's not good. It's not. If you go over 15 minutes and your match is in the 3-star range, like
it's like ooh.
The low 3 range, like come on.
Ooh. Yeah, it's fun. But Tanahashi picks up another 2 points here, and we move on to the finals.
Yeah, so the main event of the evening, we had the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada defeating Kenta 26 minutes, 58 seconds via pinfall.
Shocked.
Dude.
I'm completely shocked.
This is another situation where it's like, what is going on with this booking, dude? So many journalists, podcasters,
I would have put money on Kenta.
Experts are coming out here, us like, well, it's clear, it's obvious. Kenta's gonna beat Okada, get a fall title shot, King of Pro Wrestling, big rematch to lead into the Dome. Oh, this is simple, predictable booking. Like, of course it's gonna happen. Nah.
Not only that, but like they were booking Kenta so strong. Like he beat Ibushi, he beat Tanahashi. Like it's kind of a big deal. And then he comes out here with Okada and he gets murked. Actually, no, he didn't. He got most of the offense. I thought this match was fantastic. In fact, I don't know for sure, but I know not everyone's going to agree with me. This might have been one of, if not my favorite match of the tournament. I loved this match. I loved it. I know you weren't as high on it as me. I know you liked it a lot. Yeah, but man, I really loved this match.
I was so low on this match, 4 1/4.
Bro, there's like a time where like you would literally like as a fan like be like, God, there was a 4-star match on that pay-per-view.
That's great.
I gotta see that.
And now in 2019, we're like, man,
ain't nobody got time for 4 stars.
Nobody got time for 4 1/4. I'm trying to see 4.5 or above.
But no, this match was fantastic, man.
And you know what? Probably what might have hurt for me. It was a Tanahashi and Sonata match was so slow and so disappointing. I think like that left a bad taste in my mouth going into this match.
Okay, so I think one of the reasons why I like this match, but I could have probably suffered from the same thing. But I was getting DMs from multiple like parties being like, "Have you seen Okada Kenta yet?" And like I just woken up in the morning and I'm like, no, like, and I mean it was a lot of people, like people in my Twitter, but I don't even use my Twitter, and people are on my Twitter DMs, people are on my Instagram, people are on my Facebook, and all of them were like, you have to see this. So even though that match was kind of bad, I was like, okay, I know for a fact I'm about to see a great fight. But then, bro, Kenta kicked the crap out of Okada.
Those slaps
are awesome.
Bro, Kenta destroyed Okada with those slaps, man.
Those slaps were awesome. Okada's drop kicks in this match were awesome. Okada having to work from underneath is something that we don't see enough of anymore, and I really love when Okada works from underneath. Like, he's really fantastic when he's got to be fired up and overcome the odds, which we don't see enough from him. We're so used to him being a dominant, champion, and yeah, he had to gut it out here in this one. He really had to gut it out. This was a long one, too. They went almost 27 minutes, one of the longest matches of the tournament. And it went a long time. It started to feel like they were
going to a draw.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
And I loved how cocky Kenta was being in this match. And like I've been mentioning in the previous weeks, kind of absorbing those boos and heat that he's been getting from the New Japan audience. He even at one point kind of mocking the Rainmaker pose. And, soaking in the booze. I think Kenta's been doing a great job being that outsider heel that the fans are not digging right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the thing here is everyone expected Kenta to go over, and he didn't. There's also the storyline where it's like the New Japan fans, for whatever reason, are not taking to Kenta. And they're really starting to lean into that quite a bit. There's also the thing where a lot of people are like, well, he's not the Kenta of old. But it feels to me like slowly but surely, match after match, he seems to be just regaining his confidence, regaining his, getting his footing underneath him. And to date, this was the best showing he's had in the tournament, in my opinion. I thought it was the best match he's had so far. And you know what? I don't want to sound cliche, but we keep saying he's not the old Kenta. No, he's not. But you know what? He's pretty dang good right now.
Yeah.
He's getting
and
so good.
So much time has passed since he's been like Noah Kenta. Like we can't expect him to be in his prime right now. Like we can't expect 05, 09, GHC heavyweight champion, GHC junior champion Kenta to be coming out here. But for what he's performing, I think he's doing great right now.
Yeah, this match really got me though because all the way to the end, I just expected Kenta to win, and they kept you on the edge of your seat. It went really long, and then suddenly, Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. My jaw drops.
So, first of all, before the Rainmaker, Kenta has him up to go to sleep.
Oh yeah.
And Okada comes down, but he catches it. Yeah.
And you know what? When he caught it, I didn't think he catched it. You know why?
Because everybody's been messing up.
Because everyone keeps taking it so bad and getting hit underneath the armpit. So I was like, oh, God, he just took it the same way everyone's been taking it. But no, he actually caught it. And I was like, oh, thank God. At least they didn't actually do the GTS.
Yeah, then he countered the GTS, and that led into the Rainmaker.
Yeah, that was really cool. I really liked that finish. I really enjoyed this match a lot. I'm like somewhere between 4.5, 4 3/4, and I'm leaning more to the 4 3/4. I just thought this match was incredible. I don't think people are giving Okada enough credit for how good of a tournament he's having.
Yeah, I mean, he's been having a phenomenal tournament as well. I believe, I have to check my ratings, but I believe majority of his matches are also like 4 stars and above.
Yep, it's not always a popular opinion to like praise him. Like we all know how great he is and stuff, but like everyone's talking about Ishii and Ospreay and
Archer.
Yeah, and rightfully so. But it feels like Okada's like slowly building this low key like great tournament. That's it's weird because it's like they're all main events, but they're somehow under the radar at the same time. Like no one's talking about it, and I'm like, Okada's putting on banger after banger after banger. Like the Tanahashi match, the Ospreay match, this match, like he's kind of freaking killing it.
Yeah, he is.
So yeah, and bro, what is he? 10-0?
Yeah, 5 at this win brought him to
5-0, 10 points.
Yep.
What? What? It's crazy.
So we did have 2 questions here. First from Reddit user Viking Pain says, is Kenta going to be a New Japan guy going forward as well?
Yes. And I'm not saying that because I have any sort of inside information. I don't. But one of 2 things is happening here. Either New Japan know that they got this guy, and that's why they're booking him so strong, or they're idiots. And they're making terrible booking decisions. Because you don't book a guy like this strong if you're just going to set him up to be a superstar to go elsewhere. Mm-hmm. That's stupid. You don't do that. Especially in the Japanese market specifically. It'd be one thing if maybe you lose him and he goes abroad or something like that, but like you're not going to send him to, All Japan or Noah,
right.
And set him up as a freelancer, let him go off on his merry way after he beats all your top stars. Like they're not doing that.
Yeah, I definitely think they have him locked down. And a source close to us had told us in April that New Japan had been working on some big deals and that some guys would be coming soon. And earlier in the year we were questioning like, who is New Japan going to be signing? Like they're losing the elite. Like who are they going to be bringing in? So I think Kenta is probably one of those guys that they have locked in. I don't know how long. I would assume at least a year or 2 years.
There's also the thing where Kenta said in one of his promos, like, he's going to decide what he does.
Right. And
I think he's trying to figure out if he even wants to keep doing this or not.
Right, if he still has it.
Right.
Because I think he said it in Dallas that, if he can't cut it in this tournament, like, he's going to hang it up. Like, he has to prove that he can hang with these guys to continue his career. So yeah, maybe it is one of those things like, if you want to retire after this tournament, if you don't feel good, then go for it. But if not, we're going to keep you going forward.
I think he's having a good tournament. I think he's improving match after match. But at the same time, if you were to say, is he at the top of the talent pool in New Japan, I'd have to tell you no.
No.
I'd have to say no right now. But I think that I really enjoy the aspect of the game that he brings to the table that maybe not everybody else in New Japan has. He does bring a different style, a different feel. And there are so many compelling stories that lay in front of us with him and the visceral reactions he's kind of getting from the crowd. Mm-hmm. So I think his inclusion has been great so far.
Well, we've got a question here from a user that was 5 stars. He says, do you think that Kenta is past his prime after all the injuries in time away? I disliked his performance so much against Okada that I found myself rooting for him to lose, not to see him wrestle again for the title shot.
Dang, man.
Hot take that was 5 stars.
Do I think that he's past his prime because of injuries and time away? Yes. Do I think he's past his prime because he's just way older? Yes. Did I dislike his performance in this match? Well, I just told you how I felt, so no. But, to each his own. I'm not going to argue with you about it, because not everybody likes the same stuff. But I thought I could see how some people wouldn't like it. They might. It's a very calculated attack that he had in the early goings of the match.
Right, he's kind of working over the neck.
But everything was so stiff. I mean, he's beating the literal crap out of Okada. And hats off to Okada for being willing to take the strikes of Kenta to get him over. That kind of tells you how giving he is. If someone's not into Kenta, I'm not going to blame him. And like we said, yes, do I think he's past his prime? Yes. But I just told you how good I think he's doing.
Yeah, overall, I think he's been having a great tournament.
Yeah.
And one other interesting fact about this match, post-match, we get the handshake between Okada and Kenta, which we still haven't gotten the handshake with Kenta and Tanahashi yet. So it's very interesting that, the champ accepts Kenta, but Tanahashi doesn't.
Yeah, but that's because Okada beat Kenta and Tanahashi didn't. That's why.
Okada's like, yeah, I beat you. Sure, I'll shake your hand.
Yeah, literally, when we were watching this, I was like, of course he shook his hand. He beat him.
Just like Evil when he beat Sonata. Like, yeah, I'll do the fist bump now.
Yeah, like why would you be surprised by that? Of course.
All right, so now we're going to move on to the last night here that we're covering. Night 10 kicked off with Hiroki Goto defeating Toru Yano at 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Well, Goto's got to win something.
Dude, I thought he was going to lose because, Yano was playing up the whole handshake thing and then put the t-shirt on his head and rolled him up. I was like, oh my gosh, Goto is going to lose, but he kicked out. And
speaking of the t-shirts, really interesting wrinkle. I didn't think this match was super interesting, but at the beginning of the match, obviously Goto's been coming out with the LA Dojo shirt on. Mm-hmm. Yano comes out with a Chaos shirt on, and he's is trying to offer that they trade shirts as if they're on two separate teams. Like they alluded to this on commentary that football teams do this as a sign of respect. But he is trying to. I think he's almost kind of asking him "Yo, you Chaos or nah?" And he even got on the top rope and was starting a Chaos chant, which a lot of people keep wondering about. Is there maybe potential of an LA Dojo faction sort of thing? And, my opinion on things like that are always it's fun to wonder about stuff like that, but you don't until you see it on screen, you don't really know. Until they really put it in front of your eyes, it could just be conjecture or wishful thinking. Mm-hmm. But this seems to be more than just that.
Yeah, they're definitely, I feel like they've been planting some seeds and kind of setting this story up with this, the LA Dojo faction. But, not really much to say here. It's a 1 minute and 40-second match. Goto curls up. Yano gets a much-needed win.
I think Goto beat Yano really... No, that was Ishii who beat him real quick last year. But,
Ishii. Yeah, wasn't it the first night?
It was one of the first nights.
It was the first B-block night, I think
Ishii,
it was.
squashed him.
Yeah. I didn't give this match a rating. So moving on. Tomohiro Ishii versus Juice Robinson, bro. This was fire.
Yeah, so I did this thing where people were also telling me how great this match was, and I was like, well, they always have great matches together. I'm starting to realize I should stop saying that because it's Ishii, and again, he has great matches with everybody. But truth be told, him and Juice do have really good matches, And this one's a little more understated because you don't hear people talk about it. But remember they had that banger on like one of the last nights of the G1 last year?
Yeah.
And then they had a really good match in OTT last year as well. So yeah, but this blows everything away that they've ever had together. In fact, this is one of the best Juice Robinson matches of all time.
Yeah, this might be Juice's best match, hands down.
We keep saying that a lot
because he keeps improving.
Bro, Juice is just freaking awesome. Like, and Ishii's freaking awesome. And I love this match.
I love this match. You know how Lando talks about pacing the dead? Like, dude, I was like so excited about this, dude. I was like marking out, popping, dude.
Okay, so this is another one of those matches I was talking about where it's like, you know, this doesn't fit your standard criteria for like your epic match of the year contender, quote unquote. But then if I'm viscerally reacting to every little thing that they do for the entirety of the match, that's got to tell you something. And like you said, you were pacing. I was on the couch, but I was like, oh my God. Like, I'm literally marking out for everything these guys do from moment one to the end of the bell.
Dude, the chops, the elbows, the headbutts, the fighting spirit spots. Oh my, like, dude.
I really enjoyed the amount of reversals and finisher reversals and kickouts. Mm-hmm. This match was just high octane, balls to the wall. This was one of the, this right here might be right now my leading candidate for Strong Style Fight of the Year.
Yeah, this is up there.
Bro, it was violent. It was so freaking violent.
So, dude, the strikes, the chopping. When Ishii was chopping Juice in the neck in the corner, bro. Yep. Oh my, he was killing Juice with those chops.
And Juice was just like, I remember the one point where Juice was trying to like hit him with the jabs and, you know, the whole Juice spot. And Ishii's just standing there looking at him like with his head cocked to the side and like not selling it at all. And I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Yeah, and you know, Saito suplexes the spot where Ishii blocked a run off the top and Juice comes.
I loved that.
Crash to the mat.
that was really memorable. There's a lot of things to really remember. You know, you hear them talk about wrestlers who have no wasted motion, make everything count, and maximize every opportunity. That's what these guys did here. In my opinion, if you're like trying to teach somebody like Japanese strong style wrestling, this might be the kind of match you just like show somebody to teach them how to like construct an incredible match. This is kind of the difference between what I was talking about when I was saying like they did a lot of cool stuff, but everything meant something and everything like contributed to the greater good of the story and drew you in. This is what I was talking about when you converse it to a Jeff Cobb match where he's doing cool stuff, but it's not
coming together
the way that this match came together. And this is a rare occasion because this match was really excellent.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about when I try to explain like how Ishii and Juice are just two of the best storytellers today.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, this match was just excellent. I also love the spot where Juice hits the cannonball and like Ishii's out and he's like, check on him.
They mentioned earlier in the match a point where Juice stayed on Ishii, and they're like, you know, a year or so ago, he might not have stayed on him. He might have given him time to catch a breath or whatever. And then when he hit that cannonball and Ishii was laid out in the corner, and he told the ref to check on him, I thought that was a big mistake, and I was like, oh, I've got Juice winning this match, and this might cost him. Like, he shouldn't do this. But yeah, I loved that aspect where like one guy was beaten so badly that they might have to stop it. I love ref stoppages.
Yeah, ref stoppages are so great in wrestling when they're done correctly. And I would have popped if Juice would have won off of a stoppage. And dude, the spot with the superplex, but Ishii then pops up, hits the power slam, then Juice popped up.
Yeah.
And then they're working on the counters. Dude.
And you know what? That's another thing. Okay, that's something that is so overdone, especially in North American indies. One guy hits a Hurricane Rana, the guy pops up, the other guy hits him with a Hurricane or like a Poison Rana, the other guy pops up, and then they both like hit double, you know, super kicks, and then they both fall down. Like, you see that in every indie like shindy fest ever.
Because they're going, that's the traditional, this is awesome spot, pretty much.
Yeah. And this match shows you how you can win and where and how to do that in an appropriate manner to where it adds to the match, and it's not just them doing cool crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it was like, this is how you do it. This is the right way to do it. I loved it. The other thing too, Juice just continuously almost getting the pulp friction. And like every time, like I was like, oh, this is the appropriate time to end the match. He got him.
Yeah.
And then Ishii gets out. There was 4 times that this happened where I was like, when is he going to hit this? Because I was totally expecting Juice to get the win here.
Yeah, and the great thing too about the pulp friction, it's one of those moves like you don't know if it's getting countered until like the last second.
It's hard to tell.
He has to jump to drive him down, but sometimes that's when the counter comes when he's coming back down, so you never really know.
Yeah. I don't really love pulp friction, but I love that aspect of it, like you mentioned. It is one that's hard to read when it's happening, whether it's actually landing or whether it's getting countered. I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, man, this hard-hitting war, loved it. Great counters. The crowd was losing their minds in this match. Just amazing. 4.75.
I agree.
Definitely in my top 5 of the tournament.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how good that match was.
Yeah. So moving on, we have Jeff Cobb taking on Taichi, defeating Taichi, 12 minutes and 30 seconds.
3 stars. So the next match.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Dude, this was the example. If you look up Gentleman's 3 in the dictionary, there would be a picture of Jeff Cobb versus Taichi right next to it.
Listen, there really was nothing wrong with this match. Everything
it was fine.
Everything you expect from Taichi
your good
was
little
fine.
3-star affair.
Everything. Now, if Dave wanted to rate something low, maybe this is the match to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
This might be, and who knows? His ratings haven't come out yet, so we don't know. But I would have gone about 3. It was fine. Jeff did all the Jeff stuff. Taichi did all the Taichi stuff, and then Jeff won. And at no point was I excited. They got 12 minutes, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But this is kind of the funny thing is, like, Taichi is overachieving, and Jeff Cobb is underachieving. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine with Taichi. I'm like, Taichi's really improved, and he's doing so much better that he's not fucking up matches anymore. So I'm fine with it. With Jeff, I'm like, Jeff, I know that you're capable of so much more. Like, he's like that special kid who's like really smart but hates school and never goes. And when he does, he like puts in a half effort and like he can get a C in his sleep. He doesn't even have to try, and like he's fine with it. And
yeah.
I'm like, all right.
There were a couple things that did pop me in this match. The rebound pile driver that Cobb did on Taichi that he got near fall on.
Yeah, except for he's been doing that in all his matches almost. And
really? The pile driver?
The one that's a power bomb into a pile driver?
But he hit it differently here though.
Maybe, but he's been hitting that a lot on this tour. And again, that's the thing. Jeff Cobb does cool moves. Mm-hmm. He does really cool moves like that.
And then also Taichi's axe bombers.
Yeah, Taichi's, like I said, he's overachieving. He's doing awesome.
But besides that, you're by the numbers. Gentleman's 3. Cobb gets the win toward the Islands, a much-needed win. Picks up 2 points.
Yeah, he really needed it.
Yeah. So then we move on to Switchblade Jay White defeating Shingo Takagi at 19 minutes and 22 seconds.
I like this.
I like this too. I've seen a lot of varying opinions on this match. Of course, you have Jay White in there, so a lot of people are gonna have, their extra, glasses on when they're watching a Jay White match, and it'll be a little bit more critical. But I thought this was a pretty good match.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was very good. I like the Jay White character. I like the way he scouts everybody. The funny thing in this is Shingo. This is something I've noticed, and it's kind of interesting. Shingo in the Best of Super Juniors tournament. This is just my take. That's not anything I've read or heard anyone else say, but Shingo would go into a match, and it was like Shingo never studied his opponents. He never prepared for his opponents. He would just run roughshod through them.
He had the Ishii mindset. I just want to smash.
Yeah, he's just trying to smash. You know what I'm saying? My dog's out here trying to smash. Well, he was smashing everybody in the Super Juniors tournament, but everyone else was studying him. So everyone else was trying to come up with ways to, how do I defeat this guy? And Shingo was like, no, I'm gonna play my game. I'm just gonna do the Shingo game, and I'll come out here and axe bomber people to hell, and I'm gonna hit them with the Last of the Dragon, 1, 2, 3. In this tournament, it feels like Shingo's doing the exact same thing, except for now he's the smaller guy who is quicker, who probably needs to come up with a game plan. And I think in a lot of the cases, he's getting beat because everyone else has better game plans than him. Right. And Jay White was one of those guys. Jay White had a way better game plan. Shingo did not have a game plan. His game plan was, do whatever you want to do. I'm going to hit you with an axe bomber, and then I'm going to lay you out.
Right. I'm going to punch you in the face. I'm going to chop you.
And it's not enough. Like you at this level with guys that are bigger than you, fat, stronger, and have more experience at this level, he needs a game plan. And in kayfabe, he doesn't have one.
Yeah.
And Jay White prepared.
And we've talked about this for forever now. Jay White, he's the cerebral assassin of New Japan. And all of his matches, he's always countering. He's always waiting for that spot for him to kind of like drop down or powder, like go to the corner.
There was I really liked the moment where Shingo went to go axe bomber him and he just fell down on the ground. Mm-hmm. But he clearly wasn't hurt. Like he was just like kind of smirking.
Yeah, he was laughing. Yeah.
Or when Shingo was going to go for his elbow drop, the one that Tenryu does, mm-hmm. and he just rolls away because he'd studied him. He knew what to do, and like. He knew once he got him on the outside to start throwing him into the barricades, like he had a game plan. Him and Gato did. I did like the straight right that Shingo hit on Gato when Gato tried to interfere.
Yeah.
He freaking laid him out.
Yeah, he knocked Gato out.
And, Shingo was great in this match. Shingo was freaking killing Jay with axe bombers and
chops and headbutts and stuff. They had a nice little Saito suplex exchange where like Jay hit his, but then Shingo hit his.
Yeah. This match was good. Anyone who tells you otherwise is wrong. This match was really good.
I really enjoyed this match. Shingo hitting the Made in Japan for a great near fall.
It's funny. They really buy into that when he hasn't beat anybody in New Japan with it yet. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of funny. But, going into this match, Jay only had 2 points, and mathematically, he pretty much needs to win every match the rest of the tournament for the most part. Especially given the way that things are going to shake out here in a little bit, mm-hmm. to remain alive. And so it's do or die at this point. And so that's why like the cheating is coming way more into play. Now, the thing about it is the matches are still good. I know not everyone's... Last year, yes, he was cheating in all his matches, but he was also doing quote-unquote character work.
Right.
This year... He's just so much more of a complete performer. Like Jay is a lot better, and I'm enjoying watching him.
Yeah, he's cheating and he's hitting a sleeper suplex. He's cheating and he's hitting a Saito suplex.
Bro, he hit him with that first. Okay, so towards the end of this match, because so here's what happened. I was watching this match and I fell asleep, but I kind of heard it, so I knew it was happening. Mm-hmm. And then I woke up and I was like, dang it, I have to rewatch it. So I could remember what happened. And now I remember the entire ending sequence. And I'm not even looking at notes. So, like, at the very, very end, he ends up catching him in a Made in Japan for a really great near fall. Mm-hmm. He kicks out. At that point, he goes for a Last of the Dragon. And Jay slips out the back and hits him with a sleeper suplex. Shingo pops up like it's nothing.
Yes, no sells it. Fighting spirit.
And then I can't remember what he went for, but he gets caught in another sleeper suplex, and this time it crumbles him. And then at that point, he gets put in the freaking...
Well, first he hit a high angle DDT, and then he got him with the Blade Runner.
Oh, yeah, he hit the high angle... You know what that was? That was the Bloody Sunday.
Not quite.
Not quite?
Because Bloody Sunday is hooked a little bit differently. Like it's like one like underhook.
You're right.
And it'll hook over the head.
This one, he had the arms crossed underneath.
Yeah.
And then brought him up. But it was like a high angle DDT or like a high angle brainbuster. It was, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, he hit him with that and then hit him with the Blade Runner, which I actually liked that combination. And so he dropped him on his dome basically four times in a row, which was a great finish to put away Shingo.
Yeah, I went 4 stars on this thing.
I would have gone about the same. Really good match.
And all right, here we go. The main event of the evening.
Bro, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10? We have 10 questions regarding this match. Holy crap.
Dude.
Holy crap.
This was the talking point of the weekend closing off the show.
And it just happened yesterday.
Yeah, this was the big talking point, man.
I just watched this like a couple hours ago. Before we talk about it, I just want to say this. Murray Bone, Muzza, screw you, dog. You freaking spoiled me on this match. Oh my God. I'm so pissed at you. I'm so freaking pissed. This man messaged me super early in the morning yesterday. Have you seen Night 10 yet?
Dude, does Muzza even sleep? Like, he's in the UK. I know there's a time difference, but I feel like he's the one guy in our group chat that's always around, like, all day. And, like,
James Boyd is too. James Boyd doesn't sleep. Like,
yeah, well, we know that. James has insomnia.
But, bro, like, okay, it wasn't that early, but it was still, like, I was up late the night before. I had a late night, and I woke up. I slept in. I woke up around, like, 10:30, and I wake up, and I already have a message from Muzza. You seen Night 10 yet? And I was like, dog, no, I haven't seen it yet. Because, you know, and he was like, oh, okay, I won't spoil anything. So now I'm like, oh God, something. And I was like, why, did something happen? And I was like, and I regretted saying that. And then he's like, no, I won't say anything. He's like, there's just a crazy outcome. And then he was like, oh, and someone might have got injured, which I don't know what he's talking about. I think he might have thrown that in there to kind of like throw me off the scent.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all I know is if Moxley freaking beat Naito, I swear to God. And then he goes, LOL. And then I was like, oh my, like, and then, so then right after that, in our main group thread, Rich puts up a GIF, or no, a meme, and it's a meme of Shota Umino and Jon Moxley flipping the birds. I haven't been watching those post-match promos. I don't know what night that's from. I did not like automatically assume that was from this night. That could have been from
literally any night.
The tag match from the night before, any night. So I see that, and I just think it's funny. I literally don't think it's a spoil. Next thing I know, Muzza goes, oops, looks like Rich already spoiled it. And then I was like, what the fuck? It made me not even want to watch this night. I was so pissed. Like, you don't even know how pissed I was. I was so pissed. Oh my God. So
well, I also did get spoiled on
You
this.
did?
Yeah, literally as I was watching the show, like this match was getting ready to come on. And then a friend of the show, Dan Coffin,
oh fuck,
tweeted out to the show, and he was like, you know, I guess I wasn't so off about asking about Moxley facing Okada at Wrestle Kingdom, huh? And I
was it worth it, Dan? Was it worth it? Was your victory lap worth killing the joy and enjoyment of New Japan for this man right here? My God.
Yeah. So
you know what's funny is that. You know, Moxley, we call me the young boy, but Moxley calls his young boy Shooter, but I call you Shooter. It's all connected.
But yeah, let's talk about this thing, man. So Jon Moxley defeats Tetsuya Naito.
Shooter Donovan.
16 minutes, 35 seconds.
What do you want to say about it? I don't know.
This man is salty. This man is
bro, I'm pissed.
This man is salty. Oh my gosh.
They fucked up my bracket. They fucked up my predictions. This is the first
year. This is
the first year I'm going to be entirely wrong about the G1 since we started this show.
The funny thing is, you actually picked Moxley to beat Naito on your bracket you submitted in the contest.
I told you that bracket's fucked up. I don't know what's on that bracket. I don't even think that the math that I don't think at the end of it that the points I have are actually going to equal the finals that I selected. Like, I don't know what's on that bracket. Oh my God. This is crazy.
Dude, this, like, I don't know where they're going. Like, once again, another situation. Us, other New Japan podcasts, other columnists, journalists are like, this is Naito's year. Naito is winning the G1. He's going to Wrestle Kingdom. He's going to beat Okada in the Dome. They're going to wrap this story up. He's finally going to get his appropriate IWGP title reign.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The night before, when I was watching Tanahashi beat Sonata, and he was kind of looking just not his best. And then, we hear all the stories about Naito, and I was like, at some point on the show, we have to ask ourselves, and now it seems like a stupid question because it's probably not happening at all. But at the time, I was still thinking Tanahashi and Naito was a possibility and maybe even a likely one. And I was like, do we even want to see that match in 2019? I know that they've had so many fantastic matches with one another, even just a couple years ago. But now at this point, I'm like, they both seem to be kind of really hurt. Can they pull it together and give us, a great final? Is that even what we want? But now at this point, it's like, well, that's probably done. Do you want to talk about this match? Do you want to talk about these questions? I don't know where we go with this. I don't know what to do.
Let's talk about the match first, and then we can go into the questions.
So Moxley's fucking everybody up, and he's getting all the offense, and basically WWE stars just bend New Japan over the counter and make them take it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's happening. New Japan, all the New Japan guys are just getting fucked up by Moxley.
Here's the thing, man. I get the perspective that you're coming from, and traditionally, you're bringing somebody in from another company. You want to protect your branded guys. People talk all the time about, how TNA would bring in WWE guys and have them, destroy AJ, Daniels, Joe.
That's exactly what this is.
And
No. That's exactly what this is.
It's a little bit different, though.
How?
Because, you have in TNA, I didn't mind Christian and Kurt Angle coming in and being booked strong. They were in the primes. They're still putting out great matches. I thought their runs were fine. The problem was when you have guys like Rhino, Kevin Nash, Booker T, Scott Steiner.
Those are all Hall of Famers. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they're all Hall of Famers, and they're all past their prime at that point when they came in. And they're beating AJ, they're beating Daniels, they're beating Sabin. They're running roughshod, and they're putting on horrible matches.
Yeah.
You have Jon Moxley. I'm envisioning Jon Moxley in the Kurt Angle Christian scenario. You have a guy who's coming on. He's still in the prime of his career. He's the hottest star in wrestling right now based on everything in AEW. All his promo work has been great. All his matches so far in New Japan have been really good. He's been delivering. He's been getting over. He's the hottest star in wrestling. To me, I don't have a problem with him coming in here and being pushed the way he is.
No, you're right. I'm being a little hyperbolic just for dramatic effect because we're on the air.
For entertainment
purposes. But I will say this, and this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I'm just going to say it. Jon Moxley's not as good as Christian or Kurt Angle.
Ooh.
He's not even close to the worker that either of those guys were. He's not. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Jon Moxley is a very entertaining wrestler. So here's my thing with Jon Moxley. Here's my thing with the situation. I have no problem with them booking him strong. And I think we should have a discussion about why they're doing that because I think that's worth having. I have no problem. If they're going to book him to go 10-0 at this point in the tournament, that's fine. I think of Kenny last year. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Anything can happen. It's not a foregone conclusion that he's won yet. And if he does win, that's fine too. I like the fact that we're doing new and exciting things. I think that's been a complaint of some fan bases is that they do the same stuff all the time. And
right, and we even got questions like, is it kind of boring if you know it's predictable?
Well, this one's definitely not predictable.
Yeah.
But here's my problem. This company is a company that is primarily based on in-ring work. He is having quote-unquote good matches, and he's having decent performances, but what he's doing is not sustainable because he's not working to a high level. He's going out there, and he's not, to me, and maybe I'm just being an elitist when I say this, but he's not going out there and having blowaway performances. He's going out there and brawling and the same kind of crap in a different way, but how so many people are I don't like Cody because he's having smoke and mirror matches. Dude, Jon Moxley is having smoke and mirror matches.
So let me ask you this. Is there a difference between Jon Moxley brawling every match and Suzuki brawling every match?
Yes.
What's the difference?
Suzuki is one of the greatest workers of all time. And when he gets in the ring and it's time to actually work, he can go. Jon Moxley, to this point, has not shown that. And that's the difference. he's doing some things that are really good. He's throwing good knee strikes, and he's having some. Like, I'm torn because he's definitely putting a lot of thought into the stories of the matches for sure, and he's doing entertaining things. But I kind of been giving him the pass, been like, that was fine, but I can't wait till we get to see him work. And then it doesn't happen. And then I'm like, well, that was fine. I'm going to give him the pass. I can't wait till we get to see him work. And then it doesn't happen. The other thing is that he's getting so much offense on everybody, including Naito. Like the only guy who's gotten in the Naito match, they kind of covered for it at the end because Naito kicked out of the dirty deeds and all that and hit him with the Destino. But dude, most of these guys are not getting any offense, and they're selling their asses off, and his offense is not that great. Like, he's going out there and he's just hitting them with some light brawling crap that does not look that good, and they're having to sell their asses off. They are what are making the matches. I think that part of this is that Jon Moxley is supposed to go out there and, like, prove himself, and I don't think he's doing it. And it's kind of like double-sided because at the same time, you can clearly see he's getting so over with the fans, and the gimmick is getting so over. And the stuff he's doing with Shota Umino is so entertaining. His look is incredible. He's unpredictable. He's winning all his matches. He's having a fantastic tournament from that standpoint. But, like, they're burying all their talent for one guy. And I think it's very possible that it's very short-sighted. Now, if I'm wrong in this, and this is all leading to something that's good for the company, awesome. But, bro, I've seen New Japan do this for so many, like, WWE guys where they just put over guys. Like, he's not going out there. He's not having one of the best tournaments of any of the guys out there. Like, he's not out there like Archer or like Ospreay or Ishii or Shingo. Like,
right. I still think I would probably have him at least my top 10, I would think, of guys in the tournament.
Maybe. If he was, he'd be at the bottom of that list. Maybe. That's my thing. Like, maybe. I don't know. So, yeah, that's why I'm torn on it. It's like, I would rather Jon Moxley lose a couple times and win the tournament, but have blow-away matches where he really proves what he's worth. I don't think Jon Moxley's proven anything. I
think part of it, too, maybe that's the whole brawling thing. Maybe that's just part of the gimmick. Like,
yeah, but it sucks. It sucks if that's all he's doing.
It's not, but the whole match is not just brawling, just like plunder.
But the part in the ring is not very good.
I don't know.
It's just okay, and it's not even really that okay. Like, it's just okay. Like, the thing is like, anytime someone starts getting offense on them, he cuts them off immediately, and his offense isn't that great, and he fucks them up. Like, he's fucking everybody up. He's getting 80% of the offense. And that's fine if that's how you want to get him over. I'd rather him get over by actually showing what he can do in the ring. And they're not doing that. They're doing it by covering it up with all this smoke. It is smoke and mirrors. That's what they're doing. Like, him hitting all these knees and doing all the brawling and all that. It is smoke, and all the character work. That's smoke and mirrors, man. That's what it is. So that's why it's not really getting. I'm like, at the end of this match, and believe me, like, I obviously do like all the guys he's beaten. So there was a part of me that's like, man, as a fan, I'm like, dang, it kind of sucks he beat all my favorites. Mm-hmm. But it's not the fact that he beat them. It's the way he's beating them. He's made everybody look like none of them have ever been on his level or could be. The you know who's probably been closest to him on his... Shingo is the guy that has looked the best against him his whole time here. Everyone's getting buried, in a way. Like, it's like, he looks like a juggernaut, but then he's not having that good... If he was coming in as a juggernaut, but then looked really, really impressive, that would be one thing. But it's not like he's like Goldberg out there, like, fucking guys up. Like, it's breaking my suspense of disbelief having to watch them sell for him when his offense is not very good.
I don't know, man. I don't think I can name a match in this tournament of his that I haven't really liked. I feel like everything is...
I don't think that the Jeff Cobb or the Taichi match were great.
They weren't great, but they were good for what... They were like, 7 minutes, and he went in there and killed them?
They were good for what they were. They were like nice little squash matches.
Yeah.
But both of those guys, he just freaking squashed them, didn't take any bumps. The Ishii match, yeah, it was great, but Ishii had 20% of the offense. He got completely fucked up. The match with Shingo, that was a good match. But at the same time, again, like Moxley was so dominant over Shingo, and then Naito, he was really dominant over him. And like the Naito match should be a match that should be fantastic because there is money between these two guys as names with one another. And even if he's going to beat Naito, this should have been close to 5 stars or at least higher. Like, this should have been a better match than it ended up being. That way, down the line, it continues to make money, so we want to see it again. There's nothing about this match that made me want to see it again. It's a one-off to me. I'm just like, all right, well, Moxley beat Naito, and that's it. There are very compelling things that are happening for character, storyline, and tournament implications. But and I'm not opposed to Moxley winning all these matches, but I don't think Moxley's coming out here and proving anything, bro. I really don't. I think it is what you said. It's very similar to TNA bringing in a WWE guy and putting him over just because he's a WWE guy. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's one of those situations where it's working, though. He's the hottest guy in all of wrestling right now.
It's working short term, but this is not sustainable, and that's the problem. This needs to be sustainable. He cannot do what he's doing and have a lengthy career in New Japan because he's not working up to the level.
Well, I guess we'll have to see.
I'm telling you, I know this for a fact. Moxley is not working up to the level. His plunder and brawling matches are nowhere near the level of Jericho's. And they should be because he's way younger and he's way more athletically capable at this point in his career. He should be having much better matches than Jericho was, and he's not.
I would put the Juice and Ishii matches up there.
I wouldn't. I thought it was like 4.5. It was, and it was very, very good for what it was. But it's like, to me, it's like in a vacuum, it's great, but there's a lot of problems that are going to persist long term if they keep doing this. Now, who knows? I would love to say that I just trust Gato, like I always do, and be like, they know what they're doing, and they're just trying to build a star, and maybe I'm just being too butthurt about all this, and we'll go from there. But I got to tell you, my biggest problem is I just don't think Jon Moxley's proving anything in the ring.
I don't know, man. I've been liking what I've been seeing in the ring, and I loved in this match he busted out the old school Dirty Deeds, that headlock driver. Naito took a crazy bump.
The 1%er?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that move a lot, actually.
Crazy head.
He used to call that Dirty Deeds, too?
Yeah, that was the original Dirty Deeds. And
I didn't know that.
And then they switched it to the double arm DDT. So like that. Again, love the Regal knee tremblers. There's a lot of great character stuff in the beginning of this match with Mox kind of being frustrated with how slow Naito was taking to get into the ring, and
both of them laying on the ground and saying "Come get me," basically.
Yeah. A lot of great back and forth action. I thought overall it was a great main event. I went 4.25 on it, and
I would have gone about 4 on this.
Yeah, so let's get into these questions. I'm sure this will. There's a lot of great talking points from these questions here. So first, from Reddit user Viking Pain, says, please go more in depth with the Moxley NJPW contract situation if you could. With this big of a push he's getting in the G1, the guy has to be in the company's plans for a while.
Did we hear anything back from our sources?
No, I reached out to one of our sources. I haven't heard anything back yet. So, I mean, we don't know exactly what Moxley's contract situation is. I mean, the only thing that we've heard, that pretty much everybody else has heard, is that the New Japan contract was negotiated before the AEW contract.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that there was some kind of long play plan for Moxley of New Japan if that was the first promotion that he was going to.
I would agree with that. I mean, so before we started the show, you and I were talking, and we were talking about why he was booked so strong. And I was like, basically, in my opinion, there's 3 different outcomes. One is that they are building him up so that he can just put somebody else over very quickly and make them a bigger star based off of the defeat. The other thing is that maybe because of the AEW situation, they are going to have limited dates on him. And so they are trying to maximize this stretch of time that they have right now to do as much with him as they possibly can and make as much money as they possibly can. so that they can get as much juice out of the squeeze as possible. The other thing, which you brought up, which I think is totally plausible, is that they are going to have him for quite a while, whatever kind of capacity that's in. I don't know. Maybe you could weigh more in on that. But
yeah, I mean, because my thinking here is, so we know with AEW, they're not going to be doing many house shows if they're going to do any at all. It's pretty much going to be the TV and the pay-per-views. And they talked
about Saturday house shows, basically.
They said they might do some, but it's not going to be all the time. And then they're going to do like 4 big pay-per-views, and then there might be some like Fyter Fest type stuff in between. So you got to think these AEW guys are probably going to get maybe somewhere between maybe 60 to 70 dates within a year, which leaves a lot of time on the weekends, if they're not running a pay-per-view or doing a house show or a Fyter Fest or Fight for the Fallen, that leaves time for guys to do internationally. And Tony Khan has said in press interviews that AEW guys will be able to do stuff internationally. And obviously Moxley is one of those guys, so I could see there being some kind of long-term play with Moxley, not having to work that many dates in the States for AEW.
That's true, especially... It is. I was going to say we saw this very similar situation with the Elite and Ring of Honor. Obviously, it's not the same thing because Ring of Honor would have, TV tapings, whereas it seems like AEW is going to be live on Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 hours live every week.
But at the same time, even though he's a big star there, he doesn't have to be there all the time. There's definitely ways to get him out of the story or not even have him on the show.
Or you can cut a promo, a pre-tape promo.
There's all sorts of things you can do there. So I think that's one interesting thing. I think the idea, though, is like, what kind of involvement are we going to see from Moxley if he does stick with New Japan long term? I mean, are we going to see him on regular tours, like a Destruction tour, or is he just coming in for big shows? We don't really know. But it does seem like, why would you put this guy over this strong unless it's one of these 3 scenarios? And if I was New Japan, I wouldn't do this unless, hypothetically, I was going to have long-term booking plans for him going forward.
Yeah. So next question comes from Ricky here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network from the Ricky and Clyde Wrestling Show. Check that out. He says, how do you feel about the way Moxley has been booked? Do you agree with how heavily he has been pushed in the G1?
Well, you guys heard my... Actually, I have no problem with how heavily he's been booked. I don't. I think it's fine. It's more the match structures that I have a problem with. That's my biggest thing. But I think it's exciting to have this outside character come in and run roughshod over the tournament in a way that you're not expecting. I think that's really great.
I think Moxley's involvement has pretty much turned this tournament upside down on its head.
Yeah.
I mean, in previous years, you would probably have more... It probably would be more predictable on who was winning what if maybe you had, Makabe in here instead of Mox, or you had, Yoshihashi instead of Mox. So definitely having Mox definitely changes the dynamic of this whole tournament. I don't have a problem with the way he's being booked. I like that it's been unpredictable. Like I said, he's the hottest star in wrestling right now. Everybody's talking about him. All the interviews, all the promos, he's doing stuff. He's going to be doing GCW Bloodsport. He's got all these cool promo videos. He's very entertaining, all of the Shota Umino stuff. Like, he's getting over, and he's getting great reactions from the New Japan crowd, obviously in the Western crowd. So I think it's a win, especially if they can use this to bring more eyes to New Japan, increase that New Japan World subscription, and then use him to help get somebody else over.
Jon Moxley in New Japan 2019 is basically the equivalent of Tenryu in New Japan in 1993. Jon Moxley, the modern-day Tenryu.
Next question comes from Reddit user Black Saber Jr.
I love that name. It's freaking awesome.
That is a great name. He says, I am low-key, not actually low-key, pissed at Moxley running through so many of my boys. Shingo, Cobb, Ishii. I literally sat in shocked silence when he beat Naito. With the G1 thoroughly ruined, slightly joking, do you think we go down the Okada-Moxley final route, or are you still backing Naito?
do we want to start talking about outcomes and math right now, or do you want to save that till the end of this match?
Let's say that when we talk about the rankings, so we can talk about who's eliminated and who's alive and what needs to happen.
Yeah, that's a great question, though.
I will say, I mean, it is a high possibility now that they could do Okada Mox in the finals, especially if, you're not going to have Mox going forward as much going forward. We don't know. So you could, like you were saying, like you might not be able to do that Okada Mox down the line, so let's do it now.
That was one of my ideas, is like if you want to get that match, but you don't. Okay, so here's one of the things. It's like, here's what I thought about that. New Japan wants Okada to beat Moxley, hypothetically speaking. They're like, that's who we want, our top guy, our top champion, to beat Moxley. And so the best way for all parties for them to do this is, it means more for Okada to beat him if they build him up as a juggernaut. And people who don't like Okada are probably cringing at this idea. They're like, more Okada, more, But, like, just hear me out. It means most for the defender of New Japan to beat this outside gaijin when he's at his apex. Conversely, for Moxley, it cushions the loss more than any other way for him to have destroyed the entire block before he takes the loss. Mm-hmm. And he's still hypothetically U.S. champion. He still has stories going forward. It's during a tournament finals against the top guy. There's no shame in that. And if they can't hypothetically get a big money match between them in the near future like they'd want to, maybe this is the way that they do it.
Right.
The thing is like, Budokan's already sold out. Or they're not doing... Yeah, they're doing a Budokan, right?
Last 3 nights are Budokan.
So I don't know if you do this there. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's what you do. To me, it seems like if you did it there, it's almost like you're being petty. Like, you're New Japan. You're like, we want to establish... Well, I guess that equates to more money for Okada and for the company down the road, so that's probably an okay idea. But that's one thing. And, like, if I'm AW and Tony Khan, and I don't really want our top guy to lose, but he has to, maybe that's the best case scenario for how it could happen.
Yeah. And as far as still backing Naito, I have very low confidence right now that Naito is winning this thing. We'll talk about in a second when we go to the rankings what has to kind of happen.
I wouldn't put money on Naito anymore. I'm disappointed, not because I'm like a diehard LIJ fan, but because I really liked the story that was hypothetically laid out, and also I just want to be right, and the fact that I'm not right kind of makes me mad. But the thing is, there are still some things that give me pause to think that maybe there's a chance, but it's so unlikely at this point.
Yeah, and hopefully a lot of people didn't listen to Joe Lanza and put some money down on this thing. He has a bonus question. Yeah, bonus question from Black Saber Jr. He says, are people giving Moxley's in-ring work too much praise? I've seen people talk about him as one of the top performers of the tournament, and I don't see it. Different and interesting matches with great workers, but he's mainly smoke and mirrors, working amazing talent. Turns out I'm hell salty about Jon Moxley. It doesn't help Zach's losing.
Well, I agree with what he's saying.
Is this your burner Reddit account?
Listen, sir, that is the equivalent of blackface on Reddit. I would never do that. You know I don't play that. No, I would not have a name that's Black Saber Jr. That is highly offensive. No, this is not my burner account. And you know what? I did not see these questions ahead of time, so I did not know that Black Saber Jr. was going to be saying this. But you know what? I agree with him. I think he's absolutely right. I think that the matches are different and interesting, and that he's being paired with great workers, but I don't see that he's having great performances. I think the guys he's wrestling are great performers, and these are unique matches. And that's why when I say it's not sustainable, these different and unique, interesting matches, this is not a success for sustainable career in New Japan. You can't do this forever. It's going to be like, when I compare him to Jericho, because Jericho's already losing cachet because you can't keep doing what Jericho does. The big difference there is that he's an attraction, and so we have enough time to kind of miss him, and then when he comes in, we want him to do that. Mm-hmm. But if Moxley's going to be here all the time, he cannot do this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to continue with the brawling style, or if eventually he's going to have a match where he kind of wrestles a more traditional New Japan style. I mean, there are a lot of aspects of his in-ring work that I like. Like, I love the regal knees. I'm loving the new Death Rider.
I do too.
Some of the suplexes that he's doing, the butterfly suplex, a lot of other stuff that he's doing in ring wise, bringing back the old dirty deeds. There are some in ring stuff that I've been liking that he's doing, and like you mentioned, it's different, and maybe that's why I'm digging it so much. And I've always been a fan of Jon Moxley, going back to the FCW days when he was feuding with Rollins for the FCW 15 championship and feuding with William Regal and Mick Foley. So I don't know, maybe I'm just a Moxley mark.
Well, here's one thing. I have no problem with him brawling, because you brought up Suzuki, but what did I say about Suzuki? He gets it done when he gets in the ring. I have no problem with the moves that he's doing. I think the moves he's doing are cool, but like I said about Jeff Cobb earlier, Jeff Cobb does amazing moves, but I don't think in the ring that what he's doing is compelling enough. I think that it's very lacking, and I think that he needs to show more in ring-wise besides just the brawling and having a couple cool spots. That's that's my problem. And I think this kid's right. Or guy, or girl, or whoever you are, Black Sage. However you'd like to address yourself.
Yeah.
I don't want to assume anything.
So next from Noah Dynasty 2490 on Reddit asks, if you were an odds maker in Vegas, what would the number be on Moxley actually losing his last 4?
These odds questions.
Right. So we're not gambling people. We're not.
This is a Christian household. Sir.
Like I've never gambled or betted on anything in my life. I don't know how these odds numbers, how I would even set an odds numbers up on this. But I will say this: it's highly unlikely that Moxley is going to lose 4 straight.
Yeah, it's so unlikely that he's losing 4 straight. That's crazy sounding.
Like maybe 3, maybe.
I could see him losing 3,
but 4.
But even that sounds crazy.
Even that's unlikely.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then the next question comes from Twitter user @_the Bruiser. He says, "Is Naito alive?" And I don't know if he's referring if like Naito is like actually alive or like alive in the tournament points wise. As far as I know, he's still alive and breathing. I mean, he did take a nasty bump with that headlock driver. But
do you think that he's asking like, is he like suicidal because of like the way they booked him?
Maybe, but we'll talk in a second whether he's still alive points wise. Next question comes from Reddit user Maserati.
My dog Maserati.
Yeah, Maserati. He says, what could Naito's future storyline consist of? I'm assuming a rematch with Mox at Wrestle Kingdom could be an option to get his win back, but would that require Mox to stick around past the G1 when he could already be over at AEW? Plus, I don't see Naito fitting into a world title contention if he's mixing it up with Mox this year like he was with Jericho last Wrestle Kingdom.
Dude, they need to not do that. I think that's a terrible... Well, okay, if they were going to do that, I think that this match needed to be a lot more compelling. The match was fine, but there's nothing about this match that made me think, God, Naito needs to get his comeuppance on Mox. No, he got beat bad. That's it. Like, at least the Juice match, you kind of felt like Juice needed to get revenge. This doesn't feel like that at all. And I would hate if that's Naito's character arc for the rest of his career. Lose a big match, come back, get his win back, lose a big... Like, that's 50-50 booking. That sucks. I hope they don't do that. And I don't think there's money in it. If there was money in it, this match needed to be a lot better than it was.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do... I wouldn't want to see Mox versus Naito at Wrestle Kingdom. If Mox is going to be at Wrestle Kingdom, I'd probably want him to face somebody in the A block that he hasn't had a one-on-one match with yet, so it's a fresh matchup.
I agree.
So yeah, I wouldn't do the Naito match.
Or at least have some sort of personal conflict with.
Right.
Something.
And as far as storyline, Naito's storyline future, well, if he doesn't win the G1, I mean, he's still the Intercontinental Champion, and I guess the rest of his year is defending that belt and trying to take that to Wrestle Kingdom to defend against somebody.
Who knows, man? I couldn't picture anything else other than what I've imagined laid out for him. I have no clue what they're doing.
Next question comes from Reddit user, Why Did You Do That, Bro? Who's actually in the lead right now in our G1 Climax Pick'em. I know some of you asked to kind of see where you're at. I was trying to get it up on the site, but the embed code from Google Sheets wasn't working, so I think I'm just going to send the Google Sheets link out so you guys can see where you are in the rankings. But right now, Why Did You Do That, Bro is in the lead right now. He asks, there are really people who think Mox is going undefeated because he beat Naito. Did these guys forget about Kenny starting 6-0 last year or what? Or how Gato likes to book people from coming from behind to win the block?
I agree entirely. I think that can apply to Mox and to Okada.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely right. The only thing that's different, though, is last year when Kenny was on this run, there was, in my mind, I was like, there's no way in hell he's winning the entire block for many different reasons. The math just didn't work out. And then you looked at his last three opponents. It's like Ishii, Yano, and Ibushi. And it was like, he's not going undefeated through this. Like, there's too many story elements. Whereas with Mox and Okada, I don't think either of them are going quote-unquote undefeated. But I could see both of them winning the block now, and I could see both of them potentially winning the G1, potentially. So I have a different feeling about it than I did with Kenny last year. But I think he's right. Gato likes to book people from coming from behind to win the block, and I think people are kind of forgetting that.
Yeah, I mean, it is, like you mentioned, yeah, Kenny took 3 straight losses last year, so that's completely possible for both Okada and Mox coming down the stretch here. Next question comes from Reddit user Rambone Slam Pig. He says, is the window for Naito to have a significant run with the top belt closing, giving the emergence of Ospreay, Ibushi, White, and others? Any word on what effect, if any, interpromotional politics had on the booking of Moxley and Cobb in the G1?
Yes, the window for Naito having a significant run at the top with the belt is closing, given all that. Not only that, given his body breaking down. All of that is a factor. I haven't heard anything about interpromotional politics playing into this, but I gotta imagine they do. I really gotta imagine that they play a big factor in this.
You gotta think on the AEW side. Obviously, they're not really talking to each other, but I'm sure there had to be some kind of discussion. Maybe it's between Mox and Khan being like, make sure they book you well over there or something. I don't know. I feel like there has to be some kind of...
Although, did you hear this week that like now Dave is saying that the relationship isn't as bad as once thought?
Yeah.
Which I'm like, which is it? Like literally last week you were like, it's dead. It's dead in the water. They don't talk. And now he's like, well, it's not as bad as we once thought. So that kind of makes me think like he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to that.
Yeah, I don't have no idea what's going on there. As far as Cobb, I mean, here's the thing. It's the Ring of Honor partnership. It's slowly fading away. It's not as strong as it was.
It's like every relationship I've ever been in. You watch it. You watch it slowly fade away. You can see all the warning signs. It's breaking. It's falling apart.
It's fading away, and it will classify itself as obsolete.
Obsolete.
But yeah, I mean, and Ring of Honor guys, when they go to New Japan, typically aren't really booked super strong. Like, can you think of a Ring of Honor guy that's had like a great run or like did something like out of this world in New Japan?
Cody.
Okay, there's Cody, but besides Cody, besides a Bullet Club guy, I mean, you've had Kyle O'Reilly. I mean Red Dragon, I guess.
I almost said AJ, but I think like AJ is kind of almost more in New Japan.
Yeah, he was more in New Japan. He made sporadic appearances in Ring of Honor.
But he was technically signed to Ring of Honor first, and then
he was? I thought he was signed to New Japan first.
I could be wrong. I thought he was signed to Ring of Honor first, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the one guy that comes to mind is Cody, honestly. I mean, I guess you could say Adam Cole-ish.
Yeah, but I feel like, most guys that come over from Ring of Honor aren't, like, booked, like, super strongly or, like, out of this world, you know? They're kind of like, either kind of like 50-50 or they kind of, you know, you have a few guys like Cody that kind of get to the top, you know, being a part of Bullet Club. Obviously, the Bullet Club guys are going to get pushed, but, you know, a guy like Cobb, you know, I think he's being booked the way he should be, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know if anything. I think more when I think about the interpromotional politics, I think more about Moxley. But like you said, it doesn't have to be necessarily any influence from AEW because, like you've mentioned, how hot Moxley is, how much of a commodity he is. He might have been getting this sort of push regardless of the fact. So we don't know how much that really plays into it. But, you know, if I'm Tony Khan and I have investment in this guy, I don't want to see him losing. But we got to be clear here. It's not like AEW is sending Moxley to work for New Japan. That's not the situation. Like, this is something he's doing on his own. He did it, you know what I mean? But I don't know how much the politics are playing into it. But I bet you Moxley is trying to do just like he's trying to protect his spot, as they say. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, and he has the ability to bargain and make sure he's well taken care of. So yeah.
So next from Reddit user, that was 5 stars. How do you feel Mox's influence is going to affect Shota moving forward? I thought the backstage promo with them was hilarious.
I didn't see this backstage interview. Did you watch it where they were giving the double bird?
I saw it, but I was kind of like half paying attention to it because I was working on updating the points. So I didn't completely hear what they said. I know I did hear Umino say, like, Mox was like, let Umino talk. And then Umino was like, Jon Moxley is going to win the G1 Climax.
I also saw where I didn't see. I've been barely able to catch up on these, so I haven't been watching the post matches. But I saw a lot of people talking about what Moxley attacked an interviewer.
Yeah, he like grabbed an interviewer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, I think that this stuff that they're doing with Shota Umino is very, very interesting. And if booked right, they could really parlay this into him having a prominent role in the company outside of his Young Lion status without even going on an excursion. And we have seen things like this. It's been a long time, but we've seen things like this in the past. I mean, not that he never went on an excursion, but like Tenzan and Chono comes to mind to a certain degree, like mentors who have elevated their mentees. And I mean, yeah, I think that would be a great way to kind of establish a character for Shota Umino as this influence from the Death Rider.
Yeah, I'm loving the interactions as well. And I think it would be great to kind of use that influence to enhance him. Next question from Zachary Shiloh on Twitter. This is with Mox and Okada now tied. Can you see them in the finals? Benefits of either guy winning the final. How would you feel if one of these two win the G1?
I think it's a possibility. I think it's one of the likely scenarios. I think it's the least likely of the likely scenarios that I see personally. But again, they might do it because they want to make that match, potentially. I think if you're going to have Mox win, it would be better for him to not face Okada and you save that for Wrestle Kingdom. If that's the way you want to go, then do it there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then again, you still have to think about the U.S. title. Not that it's that important, but, I'm wondering how that plays into everything and the situation with Juice. With Okada, though, that would be such a feather in Okada's cap to go over Mox if he's going to win the tournament, that is. You know what I mean? Because any of the other guys that are likely to win, outside chance Naito, Jay White, and that's pretty much it. Those are guys he's beaten. The Jay White would kind of make more sense to me than anything else. But Mox is a new opponent. That would be a huge deal if Okada were to beat him and at the in a final.
Yeah.
Given that he's a former WWE champion, his status in the wrestling world right now, I could kind of see that.
I think there's an interesting story to tell with Okada winning the G1 if he were to win it, because that would have us in a situation where there would be no briefcase. Because
I would love that.
He's a champion, so we would go into the fall season with no briefcase, and then there would have to be some new way to determine who's going to face a champion at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, and we asked him about this during the tournament, or during the media scrum in Dallas. He said he would select his own challenger. I don't know if they would allow him to do that or not, or how that would even work out, but that's interesting. My thing is this. If Okada goes to the finals, in my opinion, and maybe I'm just wrong on this, one of two things is happening. Either Okada's winning, or the guy that's beating Okada is not going to end up facing Okada at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
Because they generally don't ever have a main event at Wrestle Kingdom that they've done in the previous calendar year. Like, I can't remember the last time they've ever done that. So it would be more likely, like, let's say it is Mox. Mox beats him. Then you have yourself a situation where Mox could hypothetically lose the briefcase, or Okada could lose the IWGP title, and you have some sort of new match established for Wrestle Kingdom. I don't think that they're going to do a rematch of the Wrestle Kingdom final at, of the G1 final at Wrestle Kingdom, unless like the fact that Mox beat Okada is just that heat-inducing to where people are like, oh my god, Okada needs to get his win back. That's possible. It's just that's a whole again. They're going in so many new directions. All bets are off the table.
Literally,
possible.
Anything can happen. Yeah, this is so unpredictable. So let's talk about the rankings, and then we'll give a quick preview of the nights to come this coming up week. So let's look at the A block. We'll start at the bottom. So at the bottom of the block, we have Bad Luck Fale, Zack Sabre Jr., and Sonata with 1 win and 4 losses and 2 points. And I believe all 3 of those guys were mathematically eliminated, right?
Not yet. Zack Sabre Jr. and Bad Luck Fale are both eliminated. Sonata is still currently alive.
Okay. So this point in the tournament, Fale and Sabre are out. Sonata still has a shot. A very slim shot, but he still has a chance. Then we have Ospreay and Archer tied for 4 points, 2 and 3. We have Ibushi, who's 3 and 2 with 6 points. We have Evil, 3 and 2 with 6 points. Also Tanahashi, 3 and 2 with 6 points. Then second place, 4 and 1 with 8 points. We have Kenta, and then on top of the block, Okada, 5 and 0 with 10 points.
Yep.
Then at the B block, at the bottom of the block, all tied for last with 1 and 3, 2 points. We have Jeff Cobb, Jay White, and Hiroki Goto. Then we have, with 4 points all tied, we have Shingo, Tomohiro Ishii, Naito, Toru Yano, and Taichi. Then second place with 3 wins and 1 loss, we have...
Wait, aren't they all tied for 4 points right now?
Yeah.
Shingo, Yano, Taichi, Naito, Cobb, Goto, and White all have 4 points.
Oh, I must have copied the wrong rankings here. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You're fine. Yeah, they all have 4 points right now.
Yeah, so they all have 4. And then Juice is 3 and 2.
Yep.
And then Mox is 5 and 0, 10 points.
So Juice and Ishii are tied at 6 points. And then Moxley is undefeated with 10 points. So firmly above the rest of the grouping. There was some mathematics. So there was a post on Reddit. Shout out to Reddit user General Series. They compiled this list, and I thought some of this was interesting. So right now, Zack Sabre Jr. and Bad Luck Fale are both completely eliminated mathematically. On top of that, if Okada wins any of his last 4 matches, then at that point, Ospreay and Sonata are both out. So, with that being said, it's very likely that Ospreay and Sonata are done at this point. So, for all intents and purposes, unless Okada loses the next 4, you've got Zack, Fale, Ospreay, and Sonata done. As well, if Ospreay loses to Zack Sabre Jr., then he's automatically out. And if Sonata loses to Kenta, he's automatically out, which are both possible scenarios. So big stakes in those matches. If Okada beats Archer tomorrow, then Archer's out, as well as Ospreay and Sonata. And if Okada wins 2 of his last 4, then Tanahashi's automatically out. And for every match that Tana loses, that chance gets even worse. As far as the B block goes, right now everybody's still alive, technically speaking, but whoever loses between Cobb and Shingo is out. So that's an automatic eliminator, and I think that's one of the next ones. If Moxley beats Yano on this next night, then Naito, Taichi, Cobb, Shingo, Yano, and the loser of Ishii and Goto are all eliminated.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. So it makes me feel like Yano might beat Moxley.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that's going to happen.
I would count on Yano picking up the big win over Moxley, like his first loss in the tournament, just because how many guys that Naito, Taichi, Cobb, Shingo, Yano, and then either Ishii or Goto, that's 6 guys That's almost the whole block.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, talking about Naito, in order for Naito to go through to the finals, Moxley must either lose all of his next 4 or lose 3 and draw 1. And then at the same time, Naito has to win all of his remaining matches. So that's the only way that Naito could possibly win, is if Moxley loses 3 and draws 1 or loses all 4. That's a tough ask.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they could do it, and it would be a great comeback from behind story. You still have that Naito Jay White match on the last night, which you would have to think that has to somehow play.
That's the one misgiving I have, is like the Naito Jay White match seems like, okay, that's we know that that's a protected match. They have never done that match. They've never thrown it away. They've saved it till now. It's weird that they would treat it like a red herring to set up a Moxley G1 win. Although they might actually do that. That just seems like out of left field.
Yeah.
It feels to me like that either we are overestimating the value of that match and New Japan has less stock in it than we do, or it still has to have some sort of significance, and so a lot of screwy stuff is going to have to happen the rest of this tournament.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think, booking-wise and business-wise, I mean, I know those shows are pretty much already sold out, but I would think it's kind of bad booking to have Naito completely done before you even get to the finals.
I agree.
The final night.
Here's the other crazy thing. If Moxley wins just 2 of his next 4 matches, then there's only one person that can beat him in the entire block. Juice Robinson. And the only way that could happen is Juice has to go perfect 4-0 for the rest of the tournament. If Moxley wins the 2 more matches and Juice loses just 1, then Mox will have already clinched the tournament before they go to the finals. They never do that. They never have somebody clinch a block before the finals. Now, I guess hypothetically, quote unquote, they could do that because they've already sold out a lot of these shows. So it doesn't really matter. It's not like they still have to put butts in seats. But that seems very anticlimactic and totally against their booking philosophy to do that. But
especially since they just did something kind of similar with the Best of Super Juniors, having Shingo pretty much lock that up.
The only difference was Shingo never had it locked up because it was still up in the air until the final night with Taiji Ishimori. That's the difference was that you had someone who was really close in points the whole way through. And in this tournament, you've got only 2 guys with 6 points, and everyone else has 4 points, and one guy that's gone roughshod over everybody. So it's similar, but it is different.
Yeah.
If you want my opinion on this, we thought originally that or at least my opinion was that Robinson and Moxley would both kind of be eliminated, maybe kind of be in play, but be sort of eliminated on that final B block night. And the real eliminator was going to be Naito and Jay White. It could still work out that way, I guess, but it's starting to feel like the reality is that Juice and Moxley is the actual main event and the actual eliminator, and those are the 2 most likely finalists for the B block, which sounds that's out of left field.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, I mean, I know that we don't want to tell you something's a sure thing, because obviously with this G1, nothing's a sure thing, but I'm pretty confident that Juice is going to beat Mox in that last night.
I think Juice is going to be the B block winner, which this guy probably deserves it given how bad of a tournament he had last year. It's been such a, and it's funny, we had Mike Sempervive on last week, and he was kind of giving some, and he was great last week, but he did mention he wasn't sure about Mox, and we were talking about how it's been a work in progress and a slow burn, and it feels like maybe they're pulling the trigger on him this year. This might be his tournament. Yeah. Conversely, on the other side of things, Tanahashi and Kenta both, even though they have a lot of points, it feels like they are pretty much out of the... It seems like Kenta's probably going to get beat by Zack in the final.
Yeah, I feel like, his Saber's going to spoil him that night.
And because Tanahashi already got beat by Okada and Kenta, those were big losses that probably pretty much did him in. And he's going to be wrestling Ospreay, but Ospreay is pretty much already virtually eliminated, which means to me, Ospreay didn't do as well in this tournament as we had anticipated. So the match with Tanahashi is more like it's going to have a spiritual like significance, but not actual real world significance to this tournament. So I think Tanahashi's pretty much out. I think he's not going to be one of the finalists, and I think my prediction of him and Naito's out the window. So it seems like Okada Ibushi is the most likely eliminator, and I'd kind of been thinking, well, Naito and Ibushi doesn't. A lot of people want to see that, but I'm like, that's not really their style. They already did that 3 times this year. They don't usually do G1 finals like that, where they've done the match so many times in the same calendar year. But if Naito's not going through, and it's going to be either Mox or Juice, then the Okada-Ibushi match makes more sense.
Right, and then you're either going to send the winner of that match to go to the finals.
So right now, preliminarily, my most likely finale, given the current standings, I think it's going to be Ibushi and Juice Robinson.
Which, who could have seen all that coming?
Do we have any brackets that say Juice and Ibushi?
I have to look through. I don't think so.
That sounds so crazy.
The weird thing about that for me is like, so if they do Ibushi Juice, Ibushi's probably going to win,
Ibushi's
right?
got to win, but he's in the same block as Okada.
So yeah, why would they give away Ibushi Okada in the same block if Ibushi's going to win? Like, why wouldn't they just put Ibushi in the B block?
You're right. That's
the one thing I'm like, is Juice Robinson going to win the G1 Climax?
Do you think it's possible that we get Juice and Okada, or do you think they just go full ham and put Okada and Mox in the final?
Dude. Literally, like, I don't, dude, I have no idea. I want to give a prediction.
And then there's that whole thing where it's like, but even though Naito seems so dead, and so does kind of Jay White, then why are they facing, like, is them facing off on the final night just the establishment of their future feud? And that, like, because, like, Maserati, I think, had asked about Mox and Naito being a future feud. Is like, I don't see that, but, like, what if they're doing Naito and Jay White on the final night, because that is going to be a feud going forward.
Like, Jay beats him, and then it's going to be IC title feud.
That seems like a possibility and a likelihood, and maybe that's why they're on the final night against each other. But then there's that other part of me that's like, but this story with Naito and Okada seems so laid out for so long. Why are they on?
And they kept them apart. They could have put them in the same block.
Yeah, why did they keep them apart? Why did they wait this long to do this? Like, this seems like that always seemed the direction that they were going to go. Maybe they're still going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's what's
they're working us.
They're working us. And, like, they've made Mox look invincible. And maybe I'm all pissed because they made Mox look invincible, and he's about to take 4 straight losses. Or at least, like, 3 and a draw. Man.
What if him and Juice draw? Could that?
No, I think he would draw before that. Who are his last few opponents that we have coming up?
I know he has Yano coming up. He has Jay White coming up.
And Goto. And Juice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my problem. Jay White, I could see beating him. Juice, I could see beating him. Yano, I could see beating him. I cannot see Goto beating Jon Moxley.
Neither can I.
I can't see him drawing with him, and I can't see him beating him. And that's what really throws the monkey wrench in that crap.
But hey, nobody saw Goto go into the G1 finals that one year, right? Maybe Goto, after all these L's, is just over it and just...
no one saw it, but at the same time, it wasn't that unfathomable. Like, he was like a high... He was an IC level guy, like an upper IC level guy, and he was beating guys like Nakamura and things like that back then. That was a different time. Like, it's not the same Goto. This is crazy.
Yeah.
That's where we're at, though. So, like, right now, those are your likely scenarios for everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. We did have a question here from Reddit user Dino Boy.
What's his question?
He says...
Because I had something I wanted to read that might be appropriate. I don't know.
What about rankings? Or...
Okay, no, we'll answer his question.
So I don't even know if we can really answer this. It says, in kayfabe, how's it decided who goes into what block?
The IWGP Council. They keep a ledger of the performances of all the wrestlers. They have many different criteria. Win-loss records play into it. Factional standings play into it. Fighting spirit moments play into it. And then they have a tally system, and they meditate over it, and then they basically give everybody a ranking. That's how it works. It's the IWGP committee.
It's not Harold May?
No, he's not on it. They have to keep that separate. No, there is no kayfabe. In fact, it's funny. Tetsuya Naito was actually talking in a promo recently about this issue, and he was saying that they need to have qualifiers to get into the G1 going forward, because he was like, look at some of these guys that are in here. This is ridiculous. And I was kind of like, yeah, I'd be with that. Add more prestige to it.
Yeah, you literally have to earn your spot to get in.
I mean, that kind of made the match between Zack Sabre and Yoshihashi actually a meaning when I could care less about that match. Suddenly it actually had a modicum of meaning.
Yeah.
There was something I wanted to read, though, about this tournament. I saw this on Reddit by Reddit user Side Real Sandman. I thought that basically said the main story of the G1 is who's going to the Dome, but there's so many great subplots that give every competitor a stake beyond that. And I thought that this was really good. They were saying Okada's on a warpath to be the first champion to win the tournament in a long time. Kenta's motivation is fighting to prove that he actually has a place in New Japan. Moxley wants to prove that he can hang with the very, very best in the world. Naito's fighting to become the first double champion in NJPW history. Chaos went 3-0 against Jay White, finally getting their payback for his betrayal the year earlier. The LA Dojo is becoming a faction in its own right, and the whole Goto thing. Juice seems to be gunning for Moxley more than he's gunning to win the G1. Ospreay and Takagi are fighting to prove that juniors can hang with the big boys. Zack Sabre Jr. is trying and failing to prove the supremacy of Sabreism. And Shoto's being swayed and heavily influenced by Moxley. The further into this tournament we go, and Folly's training to storm Area 51. So they were saying all these little stories make the whole tournament so much more engaging, and I really love that idea that throughout all this, it's not just simply that these guys they just want to win a tournament. They all have their subplots, they all have their own motivations, and everything's interlinked, and that's what makes this tournament so freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's so nuanced. There's great storytelling, great character development. Don't listen to the guys that tell you that there's no stories in New Japan, because this tournament alone is full of stories.
Yep.
All right, so now we're going to move on real quick and give a quick predictions on the upcoming 4 nights of the tournament. So we have Night 11 coming up on Tuesday, July 30th, which is by the time you're hearing this today. So we have Ibushi versus Fale.
Ibushi.
Going Ibushi as well. Ospreay versus Sabre.
I'm going to take Sabre.
Ooh.
Sabre's on a warpath to
spoil
people, and if he beats Ospreay, Ospreay's out. And also, Sabre is not that much bigger than him, but he's quote-unquote a heavyweight, and I think he's going to try to ground Ospreay and tap him out.
You know what? I don't know. I'm going to go Ospreay.
I knew you were going to go Ospreay. It's fine.
Here's the thing. Sabre, I feel like Sabre should probably win, and he should probably end with 10 points. But at this point, he's already lost 4.
He might as well go on the losing streak.
Right. Give Ospreay a big win. Keep Ospreay alive. And then maybe you do Ospreay versus Sabre at Royal Quest.
Yeah, I actually thought about that too, and that's not a bad way to go, and you could definitely do that. And their matches together are fantastic, so I actually hope and expect this to be about as good as what I've seen from them in the past, and so this might actually be a banger.
So next we have Okada and Archer.
I think I'm going Archer.
Ooh. Hot pick there.
I don't know. Should I pick Okada? But Okada's gone 5-0, and that would. I don't know. Who?
Who could beat him?
Who's gonna beat him?
Yeah.
Archer seems like a guy that you could actually What better way to elevate Archer in this tournament than to have him beat Okada? So I'm gonna have Archer go over him.
Yeah, I think Archer makes a lot of sense. We've been trying to predict fall title defenses. And normally the fall title defenses are pretty predictable. Normally the champions gonna win. So why not give Archer a win, elevate him, give him a fall, do Destruction in Hiroshima, Okada versus Archer, give him a big main event, and then have
do it at Destruction.
I mean, or King of Pro Wrestling. I don't know. Yeah,
I actually think the Destruction tour might be better.
Yeah,
I think that's a good call.
And then because they did like the Kenny Ishii last year, you do Okada Archer, give him a big main event. Okada wins. Archer's elevated former contender.
They could do it at King of Pro Wrestling. They did Evil and Okada at King of Pro Wrestling a couple years ago, so that's possible.
Yeah, but I think I'm with you. I'm going to go Archer. So then we have Kenta and Sonata.
I'm going to go Kenta, I guess. Sonata will be out once with his next loss, pretty much.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to go Sonata.
I think that they're gonna keep Kenta alive, and then after that we've got Tanahashi and Evil, and I'm gonna keep Tanahashi alive as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tana. So then we have Night 12 on Thursday, August 1st. We got Cobb versus Shingo.
Yeah,
going Shingo.
Cobb's gonna be out.
Yep. Thanks for coming, pal. Yano and Mox.
Yano.
Yeah, I'm going Yano. That's gonna be the first big upset loss. Mox is not going to know how to handle the Yano antics. He's going to be feeling like he's on Monday nights again.
Whoa.
And Yano's going to roll this man up.
Hold up. Juice and Naito's the third match of the night?
Yeah.
Bro, they both need to go undefeated the rest of the tournament.
Oh, man.
I'm shocked right now. I forgot they hadn't fought each other yet. Naito will be out if he loses, and Juice
will still be alive, but Mox would have to lose.
Mox will have to start losing though.
I'm gonna go Naito.
Yeah, that seems to make more sense because you have more options available. But if they're gonna keep pushing Mox the way I'm gonna go Juice.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't have, but now I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I hope I'm gonna root for Naito, but I'm gonna predict Juice.
Then we got Taichi and Jay White.
Yep.
And then Ishii and Goto.
Ishii.
I don't know. I feel like this is one of these matches that could go either way.
I feel like you have Goto go over if you're gonna have him beat Mox, but if you're not, then you might as well just put Ishii over.
I'll go with the safe bet and go for Ishii. Then we have Night 13 on Saturday, August 3rd. We got Kenta and Fale. Yeah.
I think Fale can beat him. I think that's a Fale match.
Yeah, unless he can lock that game over on like he did on Archer.
Fale has almost no points. Like I think this is one of his big wins.
Yeah, that makes sense. Fale. Then we have the Battle of Suzuki-gun, Sabre and Archer.
I don't know. It depends where they are at this point in the tournament, but I guess I'm going to go Archer.
I'm going to go Sabre here.
I could see that.
Then we have Ospreay and Evil.
Ospreay?
I feel like New Japan would put Evil over, but I would put Ospreay over, and I want Ospreay to win, so I'm just going to go with Ospreay.
I'm going to pick Ospreay.
Tanahashi and Ibushi, rematch of last year's G1 Finals.
Ibushi.
Oh man, that's a tough one, but yeah, I think Ibushi is going to get the win back from last year and drill that Kamigoye into the Ace's head. Then the main event of that night, we have Okada versus Sonata.
Sonata finally beats Okada for the first time.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. I think that's what you have to go. You need people who can beat Okada. There's a great built-in story there. I think Sonata's the guy to get an Okada loss here. And then on night 14, happening Sunday, August 4th, we have Ishii and Yano.
Ishii.
Yep, going with Stone Pitbull there. Then we have Juice and Taichi.
Juice.
Yep, going with Juice also. Then we have Goto and Cobb.
Goto?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that one's kind of a toss-up too, but I'll just go Goto there. Then we have Mox and Jay White.
I don't know. White, I guess.
For the option in this tournament, I'm going to go with the Switchblade also. But who knows? Like, at this point, Mox could just freaking squash him.
Yeah, Mox might just beat everybody. Like, I don't know.
He's pulling that Hardcore Holly.
Put the belt on me, and I beat everybody.
And then the main event that night, we have battle of LIJ, Naito, and Shingo.
If Naito beat Juice, then he will beat Shingo. But if he lost to Juice, Naito should beat Shingo, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Naito either way.
Yeah, I'm going Naito. So yeah, that wraps it up. So we got 4 nights next week. Should be some great stuff.
Bro, this is I'm way more like nervous about the outcomes this year than I've been.
Dude, same here, man. This is so crazy, so unpredictable. Like, things are coming out of left field. I'm loving it though.
Yeah. So let's get into the news here. So light news week, but we're gonna go through it real quick. So as we got off the air last week, there was a couple things that started breaking. So this is about a week old, but they made the official announcements for the first competitors for this year's Super J Cup. And not only is Liger a organizer, he will also be a participant.
I thought I read that he wasn't going to be participating.
He is participating.
In the shows, but not in the tournament, though.
Am I wrong on that?
Hold on, let's see if I could find that on the NJPW site.
Maybe I just oh, you're right. Okay, Jushin Liger will wrestle at the Super J Cup shows, will not be in the tournament. I'm an idiot. Okay, so Liger...
Because when I saw the graphic,
you're right.
I got confused at first too, but when I read that article...
I misread it. I thought he was going to be in the tournament. Okay, so Liger will be on the shows. He will not be in the tournament. But the first 3 competitors that were announced, for sure, Sho of Roppongi 3K, Dragon Lee, and a big surprise, TJ Perkins.
Yeah, TJP, man. And you know what? I know there is a lot of internet hate for TJP. I know there are things in his personal life that I know haven't been proven yet, but people have seen or experienced whatever. I don't know any about that.
Like what?
There's stuff about him, like underage girls and...
Oh, what?
Like, I don't know the whole story. Like, I see people that kind of bash him about it and stuff like that, call him a creep and all this stuff.
Dude, you guys probably don't want to know this, but, like, the majority of wrestlers are creeps. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but this is a pretty dirty business.
But from an in-ring standpoint, I'm very excited. I love TJP. I've always thought this guy was a great wrestler from his stuff from TNA, Ring of Honor, the Cruiserweight Classic. He's a great worker. I think this is a great pickup and addition for this.
I really liked his Evolve run.
Yeah, his stuff in Evolve was good as well.
Stuff in Evolve was really good. Yeah, I mean, TJP, for those of you who don't know, he is a dojo guy. He trained in the LA dojo. He's one of Inoki's prodigies and students. And, yeah, I think I didn't dig any of the stuff that he was doing in WWE proper, but I did enjoy his run in the CWC. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But his stuff prior to getting into WWE was always fantastic.
Always great. Yeah, his New Japan run was from 02 to 05. He also was in the Best of Super Juniors 18 in 2011, where he had wins over Davey Richards, Jado, and Taichi.
Speaking of that, there is an official New Japan profile for TJP that's already up. So, you know, they put that up for everybody, so it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I think that's telling that they've already got a profile up for him. So TJP might be part of this junior division going forward. So
yeah.
Interesting. I also saw something on Twitter the other day with Kevin Kelly. So there was a fan that was tweeting him. Again, I know we're beating it to death, but I just thought it was worth mentioning. They mentioned the stuff with Chris Charlton, and they tweeted him this like 3 days ago, and they were like, you know, really glad the controversy got worked out, and that, you know, Chris Charlton's being brought back on the air, and, you know, that everything worked itself out. And I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but Kevin was like, there never was controversy. There was nothing to work out. Everything's good. Dave was just wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? So I think it's interesting because here's the thing. I think Dave's wrong sometimes, especially when it comes to Japanese stuff. Like, for instance, he reports something different about the AEW New Japan relationship all the time. Although he is someone who would know because he has a relationship with those AEW guys. But at the same time, it's like one day it's different than the next. So you see stuff like that. But Dave probably wouldn't have come on the air and said something like basically wouldn't have come on the air and said, this is the specific situation. Here's who's involved. Here's who's making the judgment calls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless he'd like checked his sources. Here's the other thing too. It wasn't just Dave.
A lot of people were reporting about this.
Our sources said it. Our friends that have sources said the same thing. And again, those tweets that Chris Charlton sent out before everything got resolved seemed to allude to the fact that there was a situation that was going on. So it makes me wonder why, like, after the fact, like, everybody who was involved with it is like, there never was a situation, everything's good, Chris is still part of the team. It makes me wonder, like, if it's just like a company line sort of thing.
It might be.
Like there was never an issue. Everything's good. The New Japan broadcasting team is fine.
And real quick, before we move on to the next thing, there's kind of a breaking news item here I think we should cover
right now?
first. Yeah. So, Jushin Thunder Liger, he rings in Bushiroad's listing on the Tokyo Stock Exchange.
Oh, wow.
So that happened today. Jushin Liger was among those on hand to mark the Bushiroad Company Ltd. listing on the Tokyo Stock Exchange at the special ceremony at the
He's in full gear.
Yes, at the TSC Mother's Market, ringing the exchange famous bell. So we reported a few weeks ago about the potential about Bushiroad going public and being on the stock exchange, and looks like it's here.
Let me tell you something. I'm learning a lot about the different types of stock exchange markets and commodities and securities. So I'm going to know more about this very quickly. But but anyways, there is a new shirt that Will Ospreay just came out with, and on the shirt he utilizes the slogan "Attack for the Next Generation," which was a slogan that Tanahashi had used when he was, first breaking into superstardom a decade ago, even longer than that. So I think it's real interesting. But yeah, that shirt is now available, the new Ospreay shirt, Attack for the Next Generation, and real interesting stuff. There was an update on Kota Ibushi. He put some tweets out regarding his ankle. His ankle looks to be almost fully healed, and he said that it's feeling great. The bruising, the swelling seems to have gone down, and he seems to be moving better in his matches too.
It's easier for it to be healed if it was healed all the time.
Yeah, if it was never actually bruised. Yeah, I haven't seen a picture of his foot and his actual face and body connected. All I saw was a foot. That could have been anybody's foot.
In the words of Ricky, it's a work.
So this past week, Fighting Spirit Unleashed tickets went on sale, and the tickets for the New York show and the Philly show at the Hammerstein Ballroom and the 2300 Arena sold out within minutes.
Yeah.
Super quick sellout. The tickets for the Lowell show in Boston, surprisingly, there are still tickets available. I think that they sold quite a few of them. I tried to go on the website to see how many were still available. It's actually hard to tell, to be honest with you, because they don't have it like itemized the way some sites do. Seems like there are quite a few available, but I also read that they said that they sold a lot of them and that it's very limited availability. So I don't know.
Yeah. And I know a lot of listeners have reached out asking if we're going to be at any of those Fighting Spirit Unleashed shows. As of right now, we both don't have tickets to any of those shows, and I don't think we're planning on going.
But you know how we do. We go to shows without tickets and we get in. You know what I'm saying?
So who knows? We might end up...
If Keepin It Strong Style wants to get in, we will get in. But yeah, I don't know if we're going.
Yeah, so as of right now, we're not. If something changes, we'll let you know.
There is a good possibility that things could change. We might be at those shows.
Yeah, so we'll keep you guys posted.
We'll keep you guys posted. We'll let you know. The free match of the week is Sonata versus Naito from last year's G1 Climax, which I actually don't remember that match.
I don't remember it either.
I kind of remember it, and I don't remember it being that good. They were both in the B block, but I don't remember it being very memorable. But I think that the reason that it's posted, obviously, is because this week Naito will be facing Shingo, and last year he faced stablemate Sonata, and so that's kind of a big deal. So I think that's why it's the free match of the week.
Yeah.
Also, 1 week ago today, the news broke out that GCW will be holding their third ever Bloodsport, the second under the Josh Barnett banner, in September?
Yeah.
September in Jersey City at Boardwalk Hall. The main event is going to be Josh Barnett taking on Jon Death Rider Moxley. What the crap?
Dude, Yeah, this is crazy. This man Mox, you were there at Bloodsport this year in New York. You saw Mox.
Bro, I was standing with him.
Yeah.
I was standing with him and William Regal and someone else from WWE. I don't know who the other guy was. We were up in the second story, and I was just chilling right by them. I didn't talk to them, but yeah, they were there, and I was like, this man was getting tampered with, bro. This man was still under contract during WrestleMania. No wonder, bro. We were at Bloodsport. This man was making moves, making deals.
Yes. Saturday, September 14th, 8 p.m. Eastern. It'll be streaming on Fight TV.
I'm gonna watch that,
bro.
I'm gonna watch it because the Bloodsport shows. I've been to the last two. They were both fantastic. I really don't know what to expect. Hey, this whole criticism I have about Jon Moxley not working, I guess we're probably going to have to see if that holds true or not because
he can't pull a table out in Bloodsport.
Well, you're not supposed to, but you never know. I mean, Suzuki still used a chair at the last.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, people were kind of pissed about it because that's not what it's about, and
yeah.
He still did, and people were like, Suzuki can't have a match without using a chair, and I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much at this point. But
and the promo video for this match is incredible.
The promo video is fire. The name value is fire. The novelty is fire. It's almost like a freak show fight. But I'm like, what the heck? Like, there's this really weird part of me that's like, Moxley should get squashed by Josh Barnett. In a pro wrestling setting, all day Moxley beats Josh Barnett. But in a quote-unquote shoot style promotion, and this is not just in pro wrestling, we're talking about in real life, one of maybe the 5 greatest, like, North American shoot grapplers of all time, like the youngest UFC champion ever, the last open weight King of Pancrase. Like, he is currently the Metamoris grappling champion. Like, he's a Hall of Famer when it comes to shoot fighting. And then you got Jon Moxley, who's like a great entertainer, but like super uncoordinated. Like, I think he's doing some jiu-jitsu, but like that's not the same thing at all. That's like when Brock Lesnar fought CM Punk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting.
You're gonna have to really suspend your disbelief to like believe in this, or Mox is gonna have to put in. Either Mox is gonna have to put in a fantastic performance, or Barnett's gonna have to. I don't think Barnett can guide him to a great match because Barnett's not a great quote-unquote pro wrestler. He's a good shoot wrestler, but he needs another guy. He needs a dance partner. He always has needed a good dance partner. Like, he's not someone who can guide someone who's not familiar with that style to something.
Yeah.
But maybe Mox just brawls with him, and it's just going to be them, like, throwing strikes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see.
But I will... You know what, though? Even if that match doesn't turn out to be great... And here's the thing. Bloodsport matches can end in... Some of those matches end like that. Like, you'd be surprised. Like, they emulate real shoot wrestling. So, like, who knows? Maybe he hits Barnett with a freaking Regal knee and it's over. Like, that could happen.
Yeah.
But that would probably be a fantastic card. In other news, so I want to wrap up real quick, but I want to throw some love to some contributors to the community. If you guys haven't seen Kim Justice on YouTube, his name is Kim Justice. He's a guy from over in the UK. He's making incredible videos around pro wrestling in general, but he just came out with this about 1 hour long video examining Inokiism, the dark ages of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the Brock Lesnar title reign and controversy and era. If you're not familiar with that era of New Japan, or you've never educated yourself on this, or even if you are and you're a fan of it, check out his video. It's about 52 minutes long. We already know what happened with Showbuckle. I'm telling you, Kim Justice's videos are going to get pulled real quick.
Watch them while you can.
Watch them while you can, because like I kind of feel bad about putting spotlight on it, but he's got a lot of views already, so it's like they're going to get pulled. So go watch them while you can. Also, shout out to Brainbusta Open Press. Conrad from that group, he did a piece on Kenta about how Kenta will never be accepted by the New Japan audience. I thought it was an interesting read, so you can catch that on brainbuster.com. Conrad, he did a really good write-up. Also, local podcast shout-out. So, local friends, Mike Grimes. Yeah. So, a friend of ours, Mike Grimes, he's got a podcast that you can catch on... I told him I'd give him a shout-out. You can catch his podcast on iTunes as well as Spotify. It's called the Brink of Sanity Pro Wrestling Podcast. And they had TJP on this past week, which normally I wouldn't have given a shout out for that. But given the fact that TJP is now with New Japan, I thought it was interesting. It's about a 1 hour podcast. Those guys are 5 episodes in. We were a young podcast at one time. And, I listened to it. I thought it was actually pretty good. So give it a check out for sure. In other news, wrapping up the show, they announced this week that MLW and Noah are entering into a working agreement, trade deal, so that's going to be pretty interesting. 2 of the smaller guys in both sides of the pond kind of joining forces. I wonder what kind of impact that's going to have on the rest of the wrestling industry right now,
Yeah, especially in the Japan market too, if that's going to help kind of bring interest back to Noah.
Well, I know Noah had a deal with Impact, but it seems like that's been long done. So
yeah.
Speaking of Impact, so we reported a few weeks ago that there was rumors that they would be on Access Television shortly, and that a deal was imminent and expected to be signed, and that fell through. And then there was rumors that there was ongoing talks about a secondary deal that was even bigger, and now the reports have come out that what that deal was that Anthem was trying to buy Access Television so that they could put Impact on Access. That didn't end up happening, and then Impact ended up having to say that they've expanded their partnership with Twitch and that they're still on the Pursuit channel. They were so confident about the Access Television deal that they hadn't even done television.
Right, they didn't. They had to do emergency TV tapings.
They had to do emergency
after
TV
Slammiversary.
Yeah,
and I've seen some people wondering too if New Japan had anything to do with Impact not getting on Access.
We can't speak out and say for sure that we know that, but it wouldn't really surprise me at all if that was the case.
Yeah, we know that there's still a very bitter taste in the mouth of the New Japan office based off of the previous Impact New Japan relationship and how they handled guys like Okada in the past. And, they still think Jeff Jarrett's running TNA or Impact, so... Yeah,
this is not good news for Impact. So the only reason I really bring it up is because the Access Television deal. So it looks like Impact will not be coming to Access. Anthem will not be buying Access Television. And the future of Impact is very, very precarious at this point. This could be it for them.
Yeah.
Which is sad to say. A report came out this past week on the Wrestling Observer newsletter that there's interest from WWE in 2 talents who are associated with New Japan Pro Wrestling, but both
Bullet Club members.
2 Bullet Club members, Robbie Eagles and Juicy Gino Gambino. Which Eagles I could understand, but Gambino I kind of can't until I start to think to myself, is this WWE trying to get into the Australia market?
Yeah,
because they're vulnerable.
Dude, they're making moves all over the place.
Bro, they're making moves, dog.
They're making moves in Japan right now. They got this stuff going on in Australia.
What were they doing? Yeah, what were they doing in Japan? They were meeting with Stardom
and Dragon Gate.
Jeez. Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. This past week, Rev Pro announced their 7th year anniversary show, which will be taking place August 18th.
My birthday.
Oh, nice. And happy birthday to you, because Liger will be on that card.
Nice.
Yep, making his rounds. Also, the Summer Supercard show that we've talked about that Ring of Honor will be hosting, GOD versus Briscoes will be having a rematch in a ladder war at Summer Supercard in the main event.
That should be pretty good. Their match at Manhattan Mayhem was a pretty good brawl. Ladder wars are typically great. The Briscoes, they're like the master of the ladder wars. They have tons of great ladder wars in Ring of Honor history. So
I guess what I like about it is seeing GOD in these scenarios that we would never see them in New Japan.
Right.
It's kind of cool to see them get to kind of spread their wings a little bit, have street fights, have ladder matches. That's kind of cool. The interesting thing about this, though, is that this week it was announced that the National Wrestling Alliance and Ring of Honor are no longer in a working agreement. They're splitting up. They're breaking up. It's over. The party's over. It's final. They're done. They're seeing other people.
It's really kind of weird, too, because they were announced to be a part of this whole Summer Supercard. It was supposed to be Ring of Honor, NWA, CMLL, New Japan.
Aldis was supposed to be on it.
Yeah, supposed to be defending the world title. I think they were trying to set up Aldis Scroll 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Seemed like it.
Yeah. So yeah, real interesting. I hear the word is that after Billy Corgan's done with this Smashing Pumpkins tour, he's going to focus on doing weekly TV for NWA.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, seriously.
Good luck with that. But, it's real interesting. The funny thing is that the story here, it's not Ring of Honor broke up with NWA. It's NWA has broken up with Ring of Honor, basically.
Yeah.
And that's the story that everyone's telling. And it's like, dang, even the NWA doesn't want to be associated with Ring of Honor. Which is funny because NWA was the one getting all the benefit out of that relationship.
Yeah, they were getting NWA guys on Ring of Honor TV, getting their guys, using their YouTube platform, getting their guys booked on their shows without having to book their own shows. Like NWO is pretty much leeching off of Ring of Honor.
In addition to that, Dave Lagana was also working for Ring of Honor. He's done independently.
Yeah, he was
as well.
doing a lot of their pre-tapes and promo stuff.
So NWA will not be on Summer Supercard. They are no longer with Ring of Honor, completely separate entities. And that's going to do it for the news. And then we're going to wrap up this week's show with the recommended match of the week.
And I know last week Kevin did watch the Yoshihashi match.
Oh yeah, what do you say about that?
Hold on, let me see if I can find. He said, upon watching last week's recommended match, I have one question. What was up with Yoshihashi's hair? Bootleg ace. Pretty solid performance otherwise. I popped when he hit a swanton, not gonna lie.
Yeah, he used to do swanton bombs. I kind of forgot that he used to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of stopped, huh?
Yeah.
Probably that Jeff Hardy thing where it's like, oh, my lower back. But anyways, so for this week, the recommended match of the week is going to be the G1 Climax, the Grade 1 Climax Finals from 1998 as Shinya Hashimoto takes on Kazu Yamazaki. This match, I love this match. I really, 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 really love this match. The story going into this match and why I recommend it is because Shinya Hashimoto had been the ace for many years in New Japan up to this point. Recognized as the most successful IWGP champion up to that point. But he was the only one out of the Three Musketeers who had never won a G1 Climax. And this was his big chance to do that. On the opposite side of the ring, you had Kazu Yamazaki, who was a guy that was a couple generations younger than him or older than him. He came up in the dojo system, but he was a shoot style wrestler. And every time the UWF, which was a shoot style group collective that was based out of New Japan, they split off on 3 separate occasions. And every time they split off, Yamazaki would go with them. And he had a good career with them, but every time they would fold, he would end up coming back and kind of have to rebuild himself and start over. After he left the UWFI, he returned, and so he kind of represented that true, authentic New Japan shoot style, of wrestling. On the flip side, you have Hashimoto, who was Inoki's chosen, quote-unquote, different style champion, and he was also shoot style. So this is basically what a lot of early New Japan fans see as being a true representation of what shoot style or what strong style wrestling in New Japan was at the time. And this was a single elimination tournament. Those of you that don't know, they used to do single elimination G1s. This happened over 3 nights. And going into the finals, Hashimoto had, I believe, wrestled Tenryu and injured his knee. So even though he was the dominant champion, the heavy favorite, he was coming in with a big, target on his back. On the flip side, Yamazaki, who was the big underdog, they booked him so strong in this tournament because on 3 consecutive matches, he beat Chono, he beat Choshu, and he beat Sasaki, who were arguably the 3 other biggest stars in the company at the time. And he tapped each and every one of them out with a different submission. So this match was really interesting as these guys just struck the hell out of each other. It's literally kicks, chops, overhand chops, elbows, knee strikes. And the funny thing is Yamazaki is not the one throwing all those strikes. That's all Hashimoto. All Yamazaki's doing is kicking Hashimoto in the knee. Oh, your knee's hurt? I'm going to kick you in the knee. And that's all he does the whole entire match. And this match is so awesome. It goes 15 minutes. It's not long. It's very simple. At one point, Yamazaki hurts Hashimoto so bad that Hashimoto rolls outside. Yamazaki does the craziest, ugliest freaking tope.
Almost like a
Nakanishi?
Yeah, Nakanishi.
It was better than Nakanishi.
It was, but kind of that similar plane, you know?
Yeah, he does a plancha on Hashimoto. Ultimately, Hashimoto is able to weather... Oh, and then he ends up putting each one of the different submissions that he had won his previous tournament matches with on Hashimoto. And the fans are, at this point, just believing that Yamazaki is going to pull the upset. And each time Hashimoto fights, uses his fighting spirit, gets to the ropes. He finally puts Hashimoto in an ankle lock, which was his dark secret weapon that he devised for this one match. He hadn't pulled it out the rest of the tournament. You think Hashimoto is going to tap out. Like, that's how serious it gets. Hashimoto gets to the freaking ropes. Eventually, Hashimoto ends up overcoming him with strikes. Hits him with one of the most incredible elbow drops from like a... How big is Hashimoto? Like 300 pounds almost?
Probably around that, yeah.
He just kills him with a freaking elbow drop.
Bro, that elbow drop was awesome.
And then literally hits what, in my opinion, is the prettiest, most ugly, most violent...
If y'all want to see the best freaking brain buster out there, you need to watch this match.
Yeah, this match is awesome. Hashimoto puts Yamazaki away at 15 minutes with the brain buster. They present him with the big check. Here's the thing. It's about a 4-star affair, maybe a little bit higher than that. I'm not going to oversell it to you, but the thing is, if you want to see an unexpected challenger fight what is basically the ace of the company in the G1 finals, this is the match for you. I picked it because that's the exact scenario that we might see playing out here in the next few weeks. And on top of that, for historical purposes, if you've never seen this match and you call yourself a New Japan fan, you got to see this match because it's required viewing. And that's going to do it.
Nice. So that's going to wrap things up. Next week, we'll be back to review nights 11 through 14 of the G1 Climax. Make sure you connect with us on social media. On Twitter, the show is at KI Strong Style. You can also follow us at Social Suplex. You can follow me at Jeremy L. Donovan. On Facebook, we're facebook.com/Social Suplex. You can also find us in the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Wrestling Squared Circle. On Reddit, I am the Pro Black Guy. Josh is Keeping It Strong Style. You can email me, Jeremy, at socialsuplex.com. Make sure you check out all the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. On Sundays, we have One Nation Radio, hosted by Rich Latta and James Boyd. On Wednesdays, we have the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast from Scotland. On every other Wednesday, we have our podcast dedicated to independent wrestling. Grown men watch this shit, hosted by Jeremy Tate and Chris Bryan. On Thursdays, we have NXT, Then, Now, and Forever, or maybe. On Fridays, we have Get in the Ring with Danny and Beast Mike. And on Saturday, we have All Things Elite with newlywed Floyd Johnson Jr.
Congrats, Floyd.
Yeah, congrats.
I know you're listening.
And, of course, his awesome co-host, Amy Euler. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating and review, and we will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.